What's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Most Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's good, bro?
Man, you know, vibed out, baby. Thinking about chilling, killing, the usual. How you feeling, baby?
Weird. I was actually driving in. Feeling all right. Feeling pretty good.
Okay.
Then my buddy sent me a screenshot of some people.
Oh, no.
Across the interwebs that are giving out soliloquies and writing multiple paragraphs about how they took Ben for granted and this and that. Like, I never really understood how good of a quarterback Ben was. And that got me heated. And that got me really heated heading. Yeah, this was like literally probably 10 minutes before I walked in. Because this is the fake fan type of shit that I was talking about. Same people probably wanted Ben's ass out of town 9 months ago, 10 months ago. And now they're saying, I didn't know how good we had. No, I was trying to tell you that all goddamn last year. But people didn't want to hear it. So it just goes back to everything I was talking about with the fake fans and everything. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like, don't be doing – no, I don't want to hear it right now. I really don't. I was trying to tell everyone last year, and they didn't want to hear it.
They didn't believe that.
When you have a champion and you have a Hall of Fame quarterback, the greatest quarterback this franchise has seen, you don't take that for granted. That's the one dude you give respect to. And the city, the fake fans did. It's unfortunate. So that got me heated. I'm not even going to front.
I like it.
But also a weird, like I said, if we're talking just about this season, a weird calm, like, yeah, we're not where we should be right now.
Okay.
We're not at a good level whenever you compare us to, like, other elite teams right now. Yeah. But can we build our way up to that?
Can we build?
A lot of football left.
I would agree.
That's where I'm at right now.
I like it. I like that passion, too, man, because we need that right now. Because, like you said, there are some people that are writing soliloquies. Others are jumping off the ship. Others are officially on draft talk. It's a lot of that going on as well. But either way, as I just bumped my big old mic, we're going to get into it. So, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let us know where you are tuning in from, and we'll give you those big boy shout-outs to start the morning show off, because it is a Halloween show today. Ooh. So, let's get it.
Richard Arbiza says Deke is Paul Revere. For real. Leah Warren, 254, Killeen, Texas. It's dark times, y'all.
It is. Some might call it scary hours. But it's all good, baby. We're going to kill him.
Craig Ellis, 717, Lancaster, PA.
There it is. Let's get it.
John Ziegler, 717, Gettysburg, PA.
Shout out to Gettysburg. All right.
Rod Dulles, 330, Youngstown, Ohio. Share line, baby.
There it is. Let me tap in real quick. Can I tap in? Let me tap in one time. I got Steelers Girl 517 tuning in from Lansing, Michigan. Man, speaking of Lansing, Michigan, you see that Michigan State thing?
No.
Bro, man, they got the pounding out one of them dudes in the line.
Oh, wait, I did see that.
Yeah. I
thought you were talking about the game. Who won the game?
I actually do not know who won the game.
How'd that Michigan dude end up there?
I don't know. I think they were saying that they go through one entrance like how Buffalo does. And I don't know how the one dude got... It was like him by himself with like their whole squad. So I don't know how that happened. But yeah, that was very interesting. But shout out to Lansing, Michigan. And he was even rubbing on the coach head, man. I was like, yo, y'all are wilding up there. Yeah, craziness. We got Sajan Patel tuning in from the 918 Tulsa, Oklahoma. Alex Papamichael, the 561 Boca Raton, Florida. He says, get rid of that dummy calling plays from the box. Oh, no, that no good. I know bueno, but we'll talk about it. All right. Let's see. Who else do we have in the building? Darius Mayo, the 410 Baltimore, Maryland. Let's get it. He says, let's run this table. I like that mindset. Gryffindor, excuse me on that. Gryffindor tuning in from the 330 Kent, Ohio. Shout out to Kent, Ohio. And I will end it with Doug Sawyer, the 386 Omond Beach, Florida. I've actually never heard of that. Shout out to Omond Beach, Florida, though. All right. I'll take this off because I can't see. Actually, I can't see. Maybe my forehead sweat.
You're not going to do the whole show with it on?
You want me to do the whole show with it? I can't do the
No,
whole
I
show.
don't.
I can't do the whole show. It's hard for me to take myself serious when I got the mask on, bro.
Yeah, no.
I just needed it for the beginning of it. Now I'm good. Let me get the hair fixed back. You know, so got to keep that right. And I put my shades back on. You said I just switched up the whole look right now. Hello.
Yeah, got to keep your eyes healthy.
You know. All right. Whew. Yeah, that was a lot, but that's us. All right. How we want to do this, man? Do we just hop right into this thing super chat wise, or you know what?
I think so. Oh, you had another idea.
This is what we're gonna do. Let's go ahead and.
Hey! You know what? I just saw our picks, the post with our picks on it. I think I actually won.
It was 3. You were 3 and 4 this week, yeah.
4 and 3.
4 and 3, yeah. 4 and 3, yeah.
I think I got it.
Buffalo won by 10 instead
Not
of
enough,
11.
yeah.
And then the other game was the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ended up winning by 4 versus the 2.5. Yep.
Wow.
And those were the two when we talked about who I don't want to. Well, the Bills won, yes, but the Jet was it the Jet? No, it was the Seahawks one. Yeah, Seahawks and Jets.
Packers got one late.
Yeah, but whatever it was with the Seahawks one, I remember saying to myself, I was like, "Yep, this is the one where we don't like to pick against either one of these dudes, but it happened." So yeah, I can live with it, man.
That's all I need, just a little scent of momentum there.
No, that was dope right there. Yeah, 3 and 4, 4 and 3. So good week, man. It was a good week.
I guess I still got a lot.
Oh yeah,
a lot of ground to cover.
I felt good. I was like, if all I'm down is one,
you could do that every week.
Yeah,
now.
I was like, I'm still straight. Yeah,
you just can't have one where I go like 7-0 or 8-0.
Yeah.
So how we doing this thing?
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get this build done first on the front end, because we do have a new show sponsor, and I do want to shout them out. It's the Vincero Collective, and shout out to Vincero. So obviously you've been seeing me wear the blue light glasses, right?
Yeah.
Well, they are from the Vincero collection, man. In terms of, with this company, they take a lot of pride in making sure that everything is done in-house. A lot of love, a lot of care. But more importantly, they don't do a ton of mass production. So when you talk about the quality of it, it's a lot nicer. They also do a ton of accessories and jewelry, right? Deke had a chance to see some of the watches that they make, and they're pretty daggone nice, might I add.
They're really nice.
Some of the jewelry, bracelets.
Well, I might need to get some of those glasses too once I get LASIK coming up here, because those would be nice. A little blue light action.
Absolutely, man. But they also have, your regular sunglasses as well. But the thing that they do that sets them apart from other brands are their price point. They try to be very affordable while still giving you a nice feel, a nice quality, to their stuff and things like that. So with that being said, when we talk about them, we got promo codes, and that promo code is Moats. If you use that, you'll get 20% off along with free shipping on at VinceroCollective.com. So you see it right there. So like I said, definitely want to check them out, show them some love. But, shout out to them. The accessory game is fire. And like I said, it actually does help. I know for me, I like to keep my eyes working properly all this screen time I'll be having. So shout out to these blue lights, but more importantly, shout out to the Vincero Collective. Alrighty. So now let's get into this thing, man, because we got plenty that we gonna talk about today.
You ready for this first one?
Man, yeah. Go ahead, send it to me, man.
I don't know if I'm ready for it.
I haven't even peeked down there just yet. I don't even want to look just yet. It's gonna get it how we live today.
Young Poppy Benito, rough game, boys. Why are Steeler players liking a post of Javon Hargrave sacking KP on Instagram? Kind of shady.
Why does it matter? It's social media, right? Would that have changed if, we won and he liked the picture? Would that make it different? If he liked the picture on Wednesday, would that be different? If he liked the picture on next Sunday, would that be different? I mean, social media, baby. I understand when you're losing, everything is heightened. So we lost. You go after some of these wins and you look with social media, it's still same stuff, man, because these are dudes that know each other. Hargrave played here for how many years, man? Yeah, I like the picture as well because that's my homie. It's just wild. What we talking about? I'm not, bro. Even when I was playing in the league, it's like, bro, if my man's got a nice flick, it's like, yo, that's my man's. I'm gonna like it, and likewise, he gonna like my pick. But when you lose, that becomes this big ordeal of, man, you can't be on social media. You can't post on social media. You definitely can't like anybody. It's like, bro, that's his man. Like, just because you don't play here anymore, we ain't gonna talk to him anymore. Like, nah, that ain't how it worked. Like, it's beef when you on the field, but afterwards, man, it's like, yo, it's social media. So it is funny. But I think.
So you're saying it's less about him sacking KP8,
Correct.
more about Hargrave.
Correct.
Just showing respect to Hargrave.
Absolutely, because that's, dude. And I mean, I know the first name that I saw, what it was, Deontay, and people, oh man, was this right? It's like, bro, they were here together though, man. So we could make it bigger if we want to, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's as deep as y'all trying to make it, or not y'all in the sense of like everybody, but how people are trying to paint that. No different when we talk about some of just the post or the just or the activity that takes place on social media. A person will look at a player if they post something an hour after the game with their family or smiling after a loss, and they're like, oh, this guy doesn't care. And it's like, bro, it's social media. Like, they're just post it, get it over with, go on about their business, man. Or you like it, cool, go on about your business. It's not a thing where, that is 100% a reflection of who they are around the clock. So yeah, that's why I don't think too much into that particular, element of it. But I could understand from y'all perspective though, man.
You liked it, man.
Yeah, why not? I like everything Wild posts, or a lot of it. I like when Bud posts stuff. I like let me think. I like when Dirty Red posts stuff. Tyler Cabbage, when he posts stuff, I like it up as well. I double like his though. That's a little different when it's red. It's a little different. I might comment on his. Come on, but whatever. I ain't comment on why. I just like the pick, yo. You know what I'm saying? It won't like, yo, kill him. I ain't do that because that all right. I get the line. All right, so we don't go that far. But yeah, you can like the pick. Now if he in there like, yeah, but you should have slammed him harder. That's different. I don't think we saw any of those comments from our guys. Nah.
You sure you weren't falling asleep while scrolling? I'm giving you an out here. It was an accident right there.
Did I comment? You ain't see any fire emojis. You ain't see any big flexing. You ain't see me hit him with the.
Yeah, maybe I wouldn't have showed up today. Do it for the 1AA.
I should do it for the 1AA because he a 1AA like me. But it's like, nah, we ain't do that. It was just, I like it. Keep it moving. We're just gonna leave it at that. I even like the post because the quote was like what you came in here and said.
What?
Man, now y'all want to be talking about this thing with 7, man. Y'all miss him now, man. Yeah, man. But you ain't believe when he was here. And I was like, well, Deke did. You know what his caption was?
Pretty much the only one.
But you saw what Hargrave put, right? Hargrave's caption was?
I didn't see it at all.
Hargrave's caption was, they didn't believe in me. God did. Because remember, he was here. And we did have a chance to keep him here. And we chose the other. Mm-hmm. So I did.
What was the choice between?
Well, I thought it was going to be between him and Tuitt, right? In terms of who
is that what it was?
Long term. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
That time frame. Mm-hmm.
You're right. Yeah.
We chose Tuitt. And right at that time, it made sense. We're not going to act as if now because we have new information with everything that played out with Tuitt that made that decision bad at the time. At the time, we were fine with that. We lived with it. But it was just kind of funny in the sense like, I don't know if he was trying to be like that with that post. But it looked like low-key, like, yo, I see what you're doing with the caption here. I can pick up what you're putting down a little bit.
So that one was directed at the Steelers. Not necessarily the media not believing in the Eagles.
I think it was just out there that, hey, man, for those that might not have believed in him, when it came time to retain services or not, yeah. Because when you leave your team, regardless of why, you always feel just a little bit. You're going to feel it. So I was like, I can understand that if that was the case.
Okay. Next one we got. AJ Martinez. God bless my stepfather, JT Gonzalez.
Let's go, man.
He was found unresponsive yesterday, but alive.
Oh, God, dog. Wait a minute.
Presently in a medically induced coma. Blessings to all and our wonderful hosts. Let's go Steelers.
Well, yeah, man, we definitely praying for JT Gonzalez, man, and hopefully everything will work out for him. And, you and your fam, man, y'all keep holding tough through all this too, man. Whew, cha.
Absolutely.
Was not expecting that one.
Young Poppy Benito. Moats, please keep that mask on. Scary hours.
See, I would, man, but I can't focus like that, man. I can't.
No, your voice is very muffled in it,
bro,
too.
And because in my mind, I have an identity crisis when I have the mask on. Am I supposed to talk like Moats, or am I supposed to be in character? And Jason doesn't really talk, so I'm like,
right.
And that's my dilemma. So yeah, right here, I take the mask off, put the glasses on, identity settled. I even got my Jason Voorhees shirt on, so it's kind of like I'm still kind of in character. All right, kind of.
Fish Momentum. Hey, what you do with Moats? LOL. Happy Halloween.
Oh. I was missing.
You were missing in action.
Yep, I was. I should have been like, yo, it's the Jason Voorhees experience with Deke.
Yeah, how about this?
What's up?
So I had a band gig this weekend, and
you dress up?
Yeah. No, kind of not really. I had a.
You say you're kind of not.
No,
really.
I did. I wanted something. Like everyone in the band wanted, whatever your preference was.
Big Lebowski.
I did do that in the past.
Which one would you go with this up? Because you got the haircut now.
I went Wolf of Wall Street with the haircut.
You did say that, yeah.
So I figure the most iconic fit that he has, the most recognizable one, is the Yahtzee. The one with the white polo, the khakis. I had khakis. I go to just buy a plain white polo. I
saw you post about that. Oh my God.
Yes, dude. They're $110.
Yes, for a plain white. Yes.
I thought they'd be like 50 or 60. No, bro. Whatever. I was like, I'll splurge for that.
Just a little horse. Yes, bro. Yes.
I mean, I got the polo. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I definitely
I had to have the outfit.
Shout out to the drip.
Well, here's what made it worse. So I went up to Macy's just at the normal mall. And yeah, 110. There's no discounts on it or anything. I'm like, man, maybe I should go to the outlets. Because who knows? Maybe they actually do have them for 50 or 60.
Yeah.
From the mall to the outlets is probably a 25, 30-minute drive. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll do it. Get there. Look at the price tag. 110.
Even at the outlet.
But at least there was 25% off at the outlet.
Oh, so that's a dub then. You win?
Not really, because I still ended up spending over $80, and then I probably waste an hour of my time and probably $10, $15 in gas.
Yeah.
They got me, dude. They got me. I was thinking about going to Walmart and just getting like a white polo and then markering the polo logo on.
Why does it gotta have polo up there anyways, man?
It needs to. Like for the Wolf of Wall Street, yeah. You need to have that little polo logo.
It ain't gotta have polo. It could have just been old regular, man.
But I felt like doing the whole Sharpie with the Walmart polo would be too much. And I guess I can actually wear this white polo now.
Yeah, you have a nice,
for the next however many years.
Collared shirt now, man. Nice little polo.
Although I'll tell you what, the quality on it is not good. It's like cheap quality. Yeah. It really is. It's not. I like my golf polos better. I know it's different. Material. There's a different dynamic with that, but still, it really is not that good. You're just paying for the logo. They ripped me off, dude.
Yeah.
They really ripped me off.
Hey, but you got the polo though, man. You got your little horse?
I was committed to the fit.
Hey, I like that though, man. And that is you though. That's on brand with you. When you get locked in, you locked in, bro. So salute.
I said I was gonna do it. You got to do it right.
Yes.
The only thing that sucked though is I still have these glasses, so I bought some shades because he's got some shades like dangling over the polo, and then he threw them on for a part of the scene as well. Because like I didn't really have them on at all throughout the night, so maybe the glasses threw it off. Like not a lot of people recognize me.
Did you give them the fun coupons? Or you got to give them?
Yeah, good call.
If you start throwing out fun coupons,
I should have a band.
You know what I mean? They'd be like, oh, I know who that is. Yeah.
You're right. They asked me, like people would ask me, they didn't really recognize it to begin with. But whenever I said it, and then I pull up the picture on Google, they'd be like, no, yeah, you got it. It's 100%. You're on point with it. It was a good time though. It was a good time.
Respect.
I was really disappointed in the polo prices. It's absolutely absurd. They couldn't have gone up that much. Because I swear, like probably 10 years ago, they were like 50 or 60 bucks. I swear. Because I had some.
Hey, man, inflation, baby. This is where we at right now, though, man. This is where we are at.
AJ Martinez says, on the more lighthearted side of life, Sabotage 7. The pressure is getting to 8. He needs the help by running the ball, 60-40 minimum. The reports of 11 being sent are getting old. How about Claypool's play? The one where he caught it over the middle and then gained an extra like 10 yards, just with taking 3 dudes with him. That was a great play. Yeah, I thought Claypool was solid. He had that nice pass for the touchdown, our only touchdown yesterday.
Hey, the creativity, man. Canada was in his bag on that one.
There were 2 plays that got me saying, "What the fuck? Fire this dude! This is the worst play I've ever seen." Yeah. And then literally a split second later being like, all right, it's all good.
It's cool.
So that was one of the plays. Because as soon as I see the jet sweep to Claypool, I'm like, are you kidding me? We're on a 4th and 1 and we're running this jet sweep.
It was about to be a TFL too. And that man, when he triggered, I'm like, oh my gosh. I was with you, bro. I was about to lose it.
And then Gunner.
You said Gunner?
And then Gunner. Dude, I'm like, all right, this dude just canned himself, literally picking up this ball and getting a safety.
I got you. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was like, what are you doing? Is he trying to be a hero? Is he trying to get his punt return job back?
I remember the play. It was funny, too, because I'm watching with my wife, and she thought the same thing. And I'm looking, and I'm like, yo, why are you tripping? She ain't know the rule. A lot of people, that is something that a lot of people didn't know. Yeah, that. And it was designed in terms of, not the rule. The rule's been in play for a long time. But what Gunner was doing, that started becoming a thing probably like 2012, 2013. Because what would happen was this, man. Once the ball would hit ground and one of the defenders would tap it, they would just like the rest of the guys. They would try
to push the offense toward it or something.
No, not even that. Sometimes they would if it was a crowd. But what you would get is this, man. If you are the only guy down there and you down the ball by the 1, right? And you don't give the ball to the ref, technically the play's still going on. But you would get the coverage guys walking off the field. they would kind of like relax and just chill. So what you're taught is, man, when that ball is touched, you can't lose possession. Even if you fumble it, if you get a safety, anything, it's going to be your ball wherever that guy touched it. So it's a free play. No different like when you catch a guy offsides, right? And it's like, hey, man, it don't matter. Just throw it down the field. It could be picked because, hey, we got this guy offsides. Same concept. So that's why he went to pick it up. Thing was, Philly, like we talk about them on brand, they finished the play. So that's why instead of it being him picking it up and nobody around and he catching them off guard, all their dudes were down there. But even their dudes, Nakobe
Philly
Dean,
definitely thought it was a safety.
But who was it? 17, right? Nakobe Dean, rookie. He doesn't know the rule like that. He the main one up there. I'm like, rookie. Tell me you don't know the rules without telling me you don't know the rules. Everybody doing this, I'm circling all y'all.
Refs were about to. I thought they had their hands up. They were like,
man. Man, nah. Because that's a part of it, though. But that is something that, like, is legit. But the difference was, and shoot, who was it? Collegiately, somebody just did it. Oh, man. Dang, going. Yeah, it happens. It's rare when it does, when you catch a team not being locked in. But when it does, it's a dope play. But when they are locked in, it looked like how I did yesterday where you got, like, 4 or 5 dudes smashing them. But shout out to Gunner, though, man, on special teams. See, I once again had another tackle out there, too, man.
Right. Yep. He's been in the mix, even on the returns.
He's blocking as well. Right. That's when we talk about Gunner. It's like it's more than just the return, man. He does a lot of other things as well, man. But yeah, shout out to Gunner on that.
What about the other part of AJ's comment? He obviously says sabotage 7. I agree with that.
Oh, in terms of the pressure getting to 8?
Well, no, not even that.
Or they're running the ball 60-40 minimum?
Because a lot of people are talking about Bill Cowher and what he said yesterday. He was like, we're not setting up Pickett for success. We need to get back to Steeler football and really run the ball and focus on that.
Yeah, well, it's identity crisis, but we've talked about that as well.
We can't because our offensive line isn't blocking too well right now.
Not just offensive line as well, the receivers also. We talked about that last week. That still carried over this week. A lot of those runs, or a good amount of those runs, I understand Najee still has to run more physical, but there was still a good amount of plays where guys are losing one-on-one blocks. Interior offensive linemen, wide receivers, when they're tasked with cutting off a guy, whether they're, we'll do the Claypool or one of the receivers will line up at the end of the line of scrimmage and come across the formation and pick up someone on the backside. Runs like that. Or when they're to the front side and they're tasked with reaching a guy or climbing up to a second-level defender, when they're missing those blocks, those guys are getting in the backfield and hitting Najee at the line of scrimmage or on his side of the ball. So all of those players are in play when we're talking about this run game, but to me, I really feel like it's more of the identity crisis than anything because, yeah, we still don't commit one way or the other. We don't commit to being a pass team. We don't commit to being a run-first team. We kind of go back and forth, and it's like we'll get stuck in no man's land, essentially, where it's like if you commit to running this ball, we saw some of the success that we could have out of that. We also saw if you commit to some of the misdirection passing attack, we got some success out of that. But because we're not like locked in on one or the other right now, it just looks like we don't operate with enough detail on either part of those. And when you look at the difference between us versus Philly, they did have a lot of those little details. When you're talking about some of these pass plays, some of their rushing plays, it wasn't a big error that was taking place. There were little things that was the difference of them making this play versus us when we try to run those exact same plays. And when I say exact, I mean verbatim, exact same plays. We just didn't have the same level of detail. Some of our screen plays, receivers not getting a block on the edge. Some of their screen plays, their receivers get the block on the edge. Some of our misdirection runs, we miss a block up front. Some of their misdirection runs, they make the block up front.
Right, they have a good offensive line.
Some of their 50-50 balls, the A.J. Brown, they were catching. Some of our 50-50 balls,
we're getting penalties.
We had everything happen. Penalty, land on somebody's foot. Was this a catch? Was this not a catch? Like, it was a lot of that going on. So, and then the other part of it was, okay, Jalen Hurts at times, man, making some good throws, taking some chances with the ball. Whereas with Kenny at times, making some good throws, but not as prone to taking some of the chances that we would see from Jalen Hurts this week. When you look at the difference of these teams, though, it's literally those little details like that. It's not a big difference, but when you're talking about the accumulation and when you're playing against a team like Philly, it's going to look like that in terms of how it got at the end of it, man. But it never felt as gory as the score looked at times.
No, I think it
either.
Just came down to the fumble.
Yeah.
We were driving again.
In it. Absolutely.
And if we score right there, it's a one-score game.
Score. Mm-hmm.
And that was middle of the third quarter, late in the third quarter.
It was
right
it was like 5 minutes, 4 minutes left or whatever when it happened. Yeah, and then that's when they ended up getting the score. Was it 2 plays later? And then from there we come back and I think the pick was that next drive.
No, we did a 3 and out. I think. Yeah. The pick was I think it was literally our final drive,
one.
And then they ran it out, from what I can remember at least. Going back to the identity crisis thing, and I've been bringing this up the last couple podcasts when we're questioning, all right, should we be running the ball more? Are we passing it too much? I feel like we get down way too early. Again, we get down
but once again,
21 points in the first quarter and a half.
But think about this. It didn't start like that. Like going into the second quarter, we were still at 7-7, right? Then they went up 21-10. That's how that second quarter ended. But even with that, it's like, is that enough that you have to completely abandon like trying to run or trying to be more intentional with the run? And that's the thing where I don't necessarily feel like you have to get like that, but I think the combination of what happened was this. Not only did they get up, because it's fine with them getting up, I think it was in the manner of how they started to score. It was no longer having to be them driving. They were scoring on explosive plays. And when that happens, it on the field and coaching wise, you feel that sense of, man, this is about to get out of hand. I can't be patient. But that was because they started giving up the deep pass. Prior to that first quarter, we weren't tripping. We weren't thinking about anything crazy because it was like, what? Make them snap the ball. Okay, you hit that crazy play, middle of the field. Minka doesn't make the play. All right, cool. That's a one-off. You live with it. But then it's, okay, we get another A.J. Brown. Then another A.J. Brown. Now it's like, man, those are 3 bombs. And it felt like back to back to back. That's a totally different conversation. It's a totally different feel for it. But I don't put all that offensively. That's the part where I'm like, defensively, that's where you drop the ball.
Yeah.
Because the one thing you could not do was give up the explosive play.
And that's what we were doing good these last couple weeks against the Bucs and the Dolphins. Right.
So think about in all those games, Bucs, Dolphins, we never felt as if the game was going to get out of hand. Buffalo was the only one where we felt like, yo, this is getting out of hand. They're scoring way too fast, right?
Explosive plays.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was why, the explosive plays. So when that popped back up and it popped up in the second quarter, we're like, oh, man. So it changed a lot of what we were trying to do. And that's the stuff, man, when you're talking about the way that this team has to win, every little detail matters. Every little element of, hey, we win when we do this, and this correctly. We don't have a team currently right now where we have a large margin of error, where we can mess up on a call, where we can not have as much detail on a block right here, or we can cut this run off a little bit sooner. We don't have that. We have to almost operate with, a 90% completion rate.
Well, and if we do, it just can't be the explosive plays.
Right.
We can give up a 15-yard run.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. Let's just stop them in the red zone. That's what we did pretty good against Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point in saying, like, I don't think the game was as bad as the scoreboard indicated. It literally came down to those 3 touchdowns when we're talking about the first half. The one was on Minka. That's on us. Like, Minka got to pick that off. And then the other 2 on A.J. Brown. Mm-hmm. I feel like Witherspoon, I don't know if we want to get into this. I feel like Witherspoon had good coverage on it, but there's got to be a reason that Tomlin benched him.
Well, so a couple of things, and let's talk about it. First off, with the A.J. Brown touchdowns. Yeah, the first one, cover 1, Minka goes for it, just gets mossed. It's that simple. Second one, cover 1, you have Kello. And it's one of them things where we can tip our cap and say, great throw, great catch in terms of ball placement from Hurts and A.J. Brown. We could ask Kello to try to, make a play because we did see in the exact same setting Terrell Edmonds in that exact same.
And James Pierre
in that exact same situation. And both of those guys made plays. We don't look at Edmonds as elite cover guy. We don't look at Pierre as an elite
and Brown ain't a burner like that.
Absolutely.
Either.
So once again, when we talk about 2 examples of guys that we don't view as the cover quality of Akello making those exact same plays, and we look at Akello in that situation on multiple times not make it, that's kind of the where I'm like, all right, how much credit do I give to A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, and how much do I say this is where Akello has to be better? But that's a part of the discussion, right? And in terms of the decision to go ahead and pull Akello at that time, I thought it was multifaceted. I thought the first part was when you're in the game and you're down on that field, bro, good throw and catch, it's cool for us to say here. But in the moment, like when it's the first time it happens, you're like, all right, bro.
And they were copies of the same play. It was the exact same play.
So it's like the first time, all right, I give you a pass. When it happens 2 times, you looking at coach like, bruh, he can't cover him. Like, that's what you're saying on the sideline. Coach, he can't cover him.
So it ain't even about Witherspoon doing anything wrong necessarily.
We just like, bro,
A.J. Brown's too much.
It's like, yo, he's too much, clearly, because you just showed it with 2 deep touchdowns, identical, same part of the field. It's like, yo, coach, they're going to keep throwing this until. And what did Philly do? They kept throwing it until, right? The same way we kept throwing it at James Bradbury. That was how we do it, because that's what you do at the NFL level. If I feel like you're the weak link, I'm going to go at you until you prove otherwise, or they get you off the field. And that's what they did to Akello. It was like, okay, we're going to keep going at him. What they started doing, vertical, stop, vertical, stop, route. And he couldn't handle it. And that's the part where, okay, it's like, man, in that moment, yeah, you're like, coach, man, you got to get him off. Or you got to switch your defense up. But at the time, the best approach that we were doing was the combination of blitzing, cover 1, Tampa 2, and running 2-man. Those are all the defense that we talked about coming into this day. Now, for the people that say, hey, man, we should run more zone, when we started to run more zone to safety look, that's when they started to run the ball more. And we had to pick and choose which one we wanted to do. And I love the approach of make it be a slow bleed, or in the sense of, or not make it be a slow bleed, but in the sense of, we're going to make you have to hit these one-on-one balls on the outside, because prior to this game, we hadn't seen a lot of teams hit one-on-one balls on us consistently. But in that moment when it seems like it's just that player specifically over and over and over, it's like, all right, man, we got to do something. So I don't look at it as it was exclusively an Akello issue, but in that particular setting, when it's happening the way that it did in such a short time, it's just one of them things where, hey, coach is going to make a move because he's feeling that sense of, man, this is going to get out of hand solely because this is a bad matchup. Not necessarily because we can't stop their offense, because we saw when they couldn't hit the deep throws, we could get them off the field. We could have success. Mm-hmm. But when they could consistently hit that type of pass right there, that you just can't live with it. So that's why we made the move. And Pierre did a really good job when he got his opportunities over there. But also the timing of the game was different. In terms of they had already went up that extra score, right, at the end of it. So now when Pierre is in their mid-third quarter, it's just a little different in the sense of how aggressively they were hunting that. Now, they still gave him some chances.
They did it 2 times.
They definitely gave it.
One with Pierre and then Edmonds. They wanted to test it out, see if, all right, Witherspoon can't do it. Can these guys do it?
So they still did their due diligence, but you can see it wasn't as prevalent at that point. And then afterwards, like a series or 2 later, is when they switched that quarterback and kind of went forward, which is still crazy. I'm like, man, how the heck have we had 2 teams now that have put backups in? Like, that's embarrassing just on a professional level, not.
Yeah, and then they got Kelsey wearing the Batman mask on the sideline.
I'm just like, bro, that it was like they were clowning. That's the professional stuff where you're just like, yo, but I can't be all the way pissed with them because you allowed it to happen in terms of the team. It's like, man, when you allow a team to do what they did on the field, they've earned the right to laugh and kid and all they want because they kicked our butt. But even with that big feeling, there's still the optimism because, like we talked about, all these things that we're speaking on are little things, but it sucks that they're still reoccurring, and that's the disconnect, and that's the part that we need to improve upon. But as a whole, these still aren't massive issues where it's like, yo, we can't fix this right here.
Just happens so fast when you get 14 points put up on the board on one play like that with Witherspoon. And I was,
dude.
Well, and even the one to, all 3 were to A.J. Brown, but the one was to Edmonds in Minka's direction in double coverage. When it happens just like that, it kind of like jars you. It gets you a little disoriented. Yeah, dude. But when you really look at it, and as I was rewatching this today, I'm like, man, we were in this.
Yep.
We were moving the ball a ton on offense. Our defense, I thought, actually played pretty good outside of those 3 explosive plays.
We gave up the explosive plays.
And we started getting pretty bad in the second half when after that fumble, the defense just looked a little lethargic and they were able to run it down our throats. But I think the game was already out of hand after that once we fumbled. Now, I was saying this even off the mic to you, going back to the Witherspoon thing. I do wonder if I get you in terms of like, oh, man, he can't cover him. Like, it's a terrible
I wasn't done with it either. I forgot. I'm glad you brought that up, too, because I did have one other part. The other part was first game back. So coming back from injury, first game back, also in the moment, a coach could feel like, hey, man, you know what? Maybe it was too soon. Not in the sense of he's not capable, but just in the sense of he's rusty right now. He hasn't been running with A.J. Brown type receivers in our practice yet, you know? or in terms of the guys he's seeing on practice squad. He's not seeing those caliber guys. So when you get out there, no different. We talked about guys adjusting to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I looked at it and was like, okay, Raquello hasn't played in, 4 weeks, 5 weeks? Mm-hmm. It's like, man, that is also a part of it. When you just throw a guy out there and you're isolating him one-on-one versus A.J. Brown, which is already going to be a handful to deal with, all of that could be in factor as well. So part of, in terms of the removal of him, could have also been, hey, you know what, man? Let's just go ahead and shut you down, protect you. We're going to get you the next week, get you to the bye, and then we'll figure this thing out going forward. That was the other thought process. But in the moment, it's happening so fast.
Yeah.
And we don't, it's very different in terms of like how we look at it as like a fan or watching it versus when you're like down there and you're feeling that pressure building up and you're just like, bro, it seems like it's you. I don't know if it's really you, but it's seeming like it's you right now. You trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but you're also pissed, you know?
Yeah, because it was decent coverage. And this is what I was wondering. So this is like a whole nother perspective on it. I wonder if they were telling him, like, bro, in terms of leverage, the one thing you can't give up is the deep ball here.
That's what it always is.
The one thing you can't give up.
Give up the stop every time. I'd rather you get the 10, 15-yard stop route than that 30-yard bomb. Absolutely, man.
Yeah, with how we were playing defense, as you mentioned, with the blitz and everything. That's the one thing you don't give up. And even though the coverage was semi-good, you forced Jalen Hurts to make a really good throw. That's exactly what he did. But still, that could have been in your control if you would have just made Brown stay short on his routes and everything. Like, just take away the deep ball, and that's obviously not what happened. Yeah. All right, next one. We got, Holden Monroe.
Yeah.
Join the upper room.
Shout out to Holden Monroe, and welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Fish momentum. Haters will get proven wrong. Hashtag be prepared. Hashtag 2 and 6.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is this, right? Haters, they're like this right now, but you know, when you turn it around, they'll be the main ones in terms of, you know, showing their Steeler pride and swearing by all these players, best in the world and all that type of stuff. I mean, it is what it is. You take them for what they are, but there is a lot of context and there is a lot of positive that is still with this team. We want the results to be better 100%, but as we've said as well, you can't lose sight of the fact that growing pains are going to happen. You're going to experience teams learning how to win. And that is what this team is continuing to do right now. They're learning. Now, they learn it on the fly. They learn it against what was a gauntlet. Now we've, you know, officially out of that phase of the schedule. But
should have beat Miami.
We definitely should have. But once again, when you're talking about why we didn't, it wasn't big issues. It was little details. Little details are what you talk about when you're looking at a team that does have the talent, but isn't as consistent, isn't doing what we think they should be doing expectation-wise. It does boil down to that type of stuff, man.
Damon Brown. We got what we asked for, and now some folks want to put Mitch back in.
I was getting that a lot, bro.
Hashtag Sabotage7. Oh, thanks, Damon. Shout out to Trina. Dude, we moved the ball on offense. Our red zone offense sucks.
No, but their thing was when it was Mitch, they were winning. That's what
huh?
Yeah, they said Mitch won games. Mitch didn't have the turnovers. And, I think those are the two things. Mitch won and Mitch didn't turn it over because they were pointing to, I guess now Kenny is.
I agree with the fumble. The pick didn't matter at the end.
And then they also said because Kenny Pickett has small hands, that's why he fumbled.
Come on.
And that's why some of his passes. So I'm like, yo, this is what we're doing now. Yes, this is I can't make this up.
I thought Pickett played pretty solid, actually. He missed some throws in the first half. And even in the third quarter before the fumble. But, the fumble was really what killed it. You got to have some better ball security there. Nah. But I do think he was getting pressured a ton. I don't think the offensive line blocked particularly well for him. So, overall, I think Pickett was solid. I'm not going away from this game, put in Mitch. Obviously, I'm not. I'm sticking with Pickett. I'm supporting him through and through. If we asked for him, and going back to DeMond's point, we asked for Pickett. He's the rookie quarterback. He's the first-round guy. We're sticking with him.
Man, and rookies play like rookies, man. That's what a rookie is. At times, he's going to have some good throws, which we could point to. At times, he's going to have some bad throws, which you could point to. He's going to have good decisions, which we could point to. He's going to have bad decisions, we could point to. This is what rookies do. So, even when I speak on consistency, I'm speaking on a global standpoint for the offense. But for Kenny, my big thing for him is just continue to cut down on the turnovers. That's the big part because I don't care about why they're happening. They're just happening.
and it's becoming a thing where it's like every game it's a turnover in some capacity, right? Even the throw at the end where you're taking a shot to Pat and he gets tipped. It's a lot of criticism in the sense of, okay, does it need to have a little more air under the ball? Was it a bad throw? I don't think it was a bad throw. I like the read, but regardless of why, it still got tipped and it still ended up being an interception versus it being a touchdown.
Yeah.
Got to cut down on the turnovers. This isn't a team that can continue to have multiple turnovers per game and expect to win. And that's the one part for him. And then the second part was similar to what we've seen from Jalen Hurts at times in terms of even if a guy, when you're looking at him, you can't physically see him open, Jalen will actually throw and take chances to get some of their dudes open. With Kenny right now, he's capable of it, but he's not doing it as frequently. When we talk about the Pat Fry move throw from a week ago, right? In terms of Pat wasn't visually open.
Yeah.
But Kenny threw him open. There are a good amount of times when we're talking about the offensive line and they were getting beat, but there was still enough time where Kenny could have, got rid of the ball. But at that time, there wasn't a ton of separation. The Eagles corners were on our guys pretty sticky. But the disconnect is this. When it's like that, for Kenny, my thing is I want to see him get to that point where, like, when we look at a Ben, when we look at a Rodgers, when we look at some of these higher-end quarterbacks, even if we're here and I'm hip to hip with you, they're putting it on that off arm. They're going to find a way to get that ball to you to open it up a little bit, break and roll, vertical routes, whatever. But it's more of an anticipating throw. And the difference is this, man. For him, collegiately, he's capable of doing it. But college-wise, you only make that throw 5 to 10 times a game, tops, out of your 30 to 40 attempts. Because in college, your guys get collegiate separation, 2, 3, 4 yards. It looks as visual, it's easy to see. At the NFL level, as we told you many times, NFL open, I'm here on Deke's back hip, and you throw it to his front hip. That front arm, that's open in the NFL. And for young quarterbacks, they have to understand that that's the throw that you're going to be making 20, 30 times a game now versus it being the other way. You don't get a ton of guys just running wide open. Unless you're talking about a little 3-yard drag route, right? You don't get a ton of just, it's a ton of separation. You got to make those tight window throws. And some of them, it is a trust element of it. And some of those things, when you do it, your receiver's going to have to, make you right. They're going to have to protect you. And that's the stuff where it's like, we haven't seen enough of it, but that'll be the next thing that I want to see from him. Cut down the turnovers and just take some of those chances, because our receivers aren't necessarily the type that are just running away in terms of getting separation, but they are the type that when you look at A.J. Brown and how he wins,
Pickens can do that. And he did it.
And
it's
absolutely.
Just, we got some calls that went against us.
Some of them went against, but it's like, we need more of that. And that's what I'm saying. It's like he's shown in terms of Kenny that he can make those throws, but we need more of it. That would be how I look at it, because just when you're watching the guys, the receivers running their routes right now, when I'm looking at them, you don't see just, it's separation on separation. It's not that, but it's still technically on an NFL level. It's like, you would challenge this guy. If this is 7, he's challenging this guy right here. If this is Rodgers, this is Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, they're going to challenge this guy. That's the thing. But it's also, that pro and con with that of, all right, cut down on your turnovers, but I want you to take a little bit more chances as well. It's that fine line, but that's where he has to kind of, improve. That's when I look at him, that's the areas I see. I don't think it's a pressure thing, because I think that he does handle blitz well. I think that he handles
he's
when guys are coming.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's any of that, but those are some of the things that when I'm looking at him and I critique, that's kind of what I'm looking at right now.
Took a beating yesterday, actually.
Oh yeah, he did. He definitely did. But what do we say about Philly's D-line? They're designed to rush the passer. And when they got in obvious pass rush situations, you look at the end of the second half or the end of the second quarter, with them like back-to-back plays, and then you start looking in that third quarter where they kind of went up, and it was like, oh yeah, now they can rush this guy on this edge. They can twist this game over here. Oh, now it's just Hargrave beating, 6-9.
Yeah, my man didn't have a good game.
Bad matchup.
Well, that's another thing I was gonna say.
Some matchups are bad, bro.
Eagles are just a really good team.
Yes.
They're a really good team. They're undefeated right now. So if we're not executing at the level that we should be, and they are, which they were on the explosive plays and everything, that's the difference you get in this one. We could have kept it close, and we did for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah. But it's almost like we kind of are – it's like we don't allow ourselves to ever give the other team credit. And rightfully so, because we do hold ourselves to a higher standard. But they're 6-0/7-0 for a reason. They didn't just wake up and start winning like that. No, man, it took time, but they've learned how to operate with those critical details. They've learned how to not shoot themselves in the foot. Once again, we talk about the turnover margin as a whole for that team. This is what they do to win games. They're going to take the ball away on defense, right? In terms of tips, overthrows, they're going to get those. And then offensively, they're going to protect the ball. We talk about how they can score. We knew that they could have the big plays with the receivers, but as a whole, it was going to be a lot of misdirection, right? And at times when we didn't communicate, what did we see? There are guys running free. But when we actually did communicate, it was like, nah, man, we're stopping this we're stopping this offense. It's not what we think it is. In fact, look at our pass rush. You know?
They did good.
It broke down what we said.
And we contained Hurts very well. That's one thing you have to give credit to the defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think he only picked up like
He's had
9 yards.
Yeah.
It was a 9-yard shoot. Wasn't it on an RPO
Yes.
too? It wasn't. That was a design one.
A pool, like, yeah.
He wasn't able to get anything whenever he escaped the pocket, though.
Yeah.
We were there.
So when we talk about the things that we did well in the matchups where we should have done well, we did. In terms of their weak link, where's their offensive line? Malik Reed, Ryan Anderson, Alex Highsmith, Cam Hayward, Carlos Davis. Them dudes was getting productivity. Them dudes was getting pressure. Them dudes were getting after him. I thought Malik Reed had a heck of a game, bro. I love the productivity I saw from him. Run game, pass game, effort, like across the board. He was flying around. But it was like, yo, we won the matchups that we were supposed to win. The little details were giving up the big play.
And that's something I viewed going into this one as more of an outlier in this Eagles offense. Now, they can make the big play like that. But
that wasn't how they had been scoring.
No, I didn't see it that consistently.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Dolphins, that's
how they
pretty much exclusively how they were able to keep things going.
And that continued this week too, right?
Right. Sometimes things would stall out, and then Tua would toss one up to Hill or Watt or whatnot and convert on a fourth down. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the Eagles' offense heading into this game was just way more methodical. RPO.
Yeah, or it's like the triple option out of the shotgun. I'm going to give you dive. I can run it. I might throw it as well. Like, they have all of that. But when we were disciplined and we were locked in, it didn't matter. We could get off the field. But that is the difference when you're talking about a good team versus a team that's figuring it out. Those little details matter. And that's why when we come in here every week and we're like, fire this guy. And I'm over here like, yo, it's not as simple as just firing a guy and that's going to make it better. This is what we're talking about. Because as you've heard in the first hour of us doing this or 30 minutes of us doing this show, we've named multiple reasons as to why the outcome was what it was. And that is the point that we're at right now, man. Like I said, it's frustrating, but it's still hopeful in the sense that, number one, we can circle it. We know exactly what it is, and it is in-house. But the frustrating part is how long is it going to continue going on? In terms of each week, it's a new group of people or it's a new group of inconsistent, not good enough right here, just got beat, bad matchup. You know what I mean? Like, it keeps happening.
Well, here's the hope. I think this bye week is a good opportunity to regroup. We do get TJ Watt back. We're going to be getting Ogunjobi back, presumably. So we should be healthy because that's the other thing with this Eagles team. They have all their players. Bro. They had all their best players out there.
Healthy, and the depth is stupid, bro. You watching it just like, bro, it's another guy they rotate. They're like, bro, who is this? Like, why? Yeah.
I think if we're just going to take this game as a sample, the big difference between our team and their team, if everything is healthy, would be the offensive line. Because I think our defense could compete whenever we're firing on all cylinders with their guys. Maybe our cornerbacks are a little bit worse, but we have a TJ Watt. We have a Minkah Fitzpatrick at safety versus who they have. I would say offensive line, and then Pickett's just not as experienced as Jalen Hurts right now. Those would be the two differences. Yeah. But I think we're on this type of path. Can we get it at some point of the season, though? The good thing is I think our schedule really lightens up.
No, it definitely
in the second
does.
half.
It definitely does, but once again, the big thing is who can stomach it, who has the patience for it. That's why we always say there's no point in getting, or I don't want to say there's no point in that, but just in the sense of coming in and fire everything is terrible, it's tragic, doom and gloom, is not. The context matters. But I understand when the understanding isn't all the way there, it's just easier or more confident to just say, hey, man, this guy needs to get fired or that guy needs to go or this tweet is the reason why or why are you liking that and stuff like that. It's like, nah, it ain't that deep. Honestly, when you look at the context of it, this team is not far off. And that's the beauty. That's why I still enjoy watching. It's like, yo, this is still a team that it still has everything that you need. They're just lacking a lot of those little detail things, man.
Here's what I was telling my buddy yesterday. I don't think right now we're on the level of a top 5 team like the Eagles or the Bills.
Would you call it talent, or would it be more execution?
No. And that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Execution. We just aren't playing up to what we could be. Now, injuries could be a part of it too and everything. Right. But we are still very much a team that should be in the playoff mix because we talk about the 3 games that we should have won or we're in the mix of winning, the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Patriots. We could easily have a 5-3 record right now. Yeah. Or worst case, 4-4, which keeps you in the playoff mix.
Literally, you win coming out the bye, you're sitting at 3-6. It's a different conversation. Right now, it's just because we have lost multiple in a row. We understand, like, you're going to have this feeling, and not in terms of you, but a lot of people have that feeling of, man, it's just doom and gloom. The sky's falling. I understand. But as you're talking about it, man, it's a lot where we're like, bro, this could turn in a hurry, and we are actually to a better part of the schedule where it will be a little bit more conducive. So it's not the conversation of we cannot have any type of errors.
Right.
And get out of the
We
stadium.
faced 2 of those teams, the Eagles and the Bills.
Absolutely. Eagles, Bills, Dolphins to an extent, Bucks to an extent, right? Because at that time, all 4 of those teams were operating at a high level of efficiency and productivity and stuff like that. And it was just like, man, when you start having self-inflicted issues, that can get you got. In those games, we saw how that operated. Going forward, though, that is not the case. These next couple of games, those teams aren't operating on the same level of efficiency. They aren't as consistent. Some of those teams are very similar to what we deal with in terms of ball security, in terms of some miscommunications, in terms of just bad execution, and even some shoddy play calling as well, man. So that is the part for us why we say, hey, there's no point in getting on this, oh, we're drafting the top 5, let's go. It's like, nah, because we really got our chance now going forward. But it really depends on what we do coming out of this bye week. But this is the part we had to get to.
Yeah, because right now, I think we are on that caliber of...
We are.
Or at least what we should be, at least what our record should be, of a playoff caliber in that type of mixed team. Because I think we've shown that thus far. It's just us shooting ourselves in the foot. But the hope is, can we build up to compete with some of the elite teams as the season goes on?
And we can, but once again, as you've heard, when I talk about not always making big changes, you don't operate with more detail and consistency and understanding when it's a mass change every week. So when you always talk about fire this coordinator or bench this quarterback or pull this guy, those are big changes. And every time it's a big change, you hit the reset button on where you're at in terms of your development, in terms of where you're at, in terms of that progression. So this is why it's like, man, you lean in with the group that you currently have, and you hope that they continue to understand each other more, trust each other more. In that way, they can continue to build and keep getting better and building upon the stuff that we're seeing that is positive. Because, man, Deke, it was multiple drives yesterday. 12-play drive, 13-play drive, 15-play drive, 7-play drive, 8-play drive. Don't tell me it's play calling. Don't tell me we don't have talent.
This is after us getting penalties, too.
Don't tell me that it's, oh, man, Canada's the worst coordinator in America when we got drives, multiple drives of 10-plus plays. You're not getting that if your coordinator is god-awful, is the worst coordinator ever. That's not the case. But when you're talking about that feeling of, man, offense isn't doing what it needs to do, still not scoring in the red zone, man, I'm looking up, and at the time, our leading rusher is Kenny Pickett or is Jalen Warren, and we're like, bro, what is it? It's got to be Najee or it's got to be Matt Canada. Nah, it ain't that simple. It's not. Because all of those guys have had their hand in some of the negative, but all of those guys have also had their hand in the positive. And when we're talking about the little details, literally, the second touchdown A.J. Brown scored, it's the fake screen and go. Fake screen, throw it up top. We run the exact same play. It's like, man. But very different outcomes for how they ran it versus how we ran it, right? In terms of the finish of it. But those are the things where it's just like, granted, it was different parts in terms of where we ran it on the field compared to where they ran it. But still, it's like, man, if both results are both for catches, those are big plays for us as well on the other side of the ball. And it changes how we feel. It changes the dynamic of the game. Unfortunately, we weren't. But that's not a massive thing. That's not something where we feel like, hey, man, we don't have a guy that can scheme up anything, or we don't have a guy that can throw that ball out there. We don't have a guy that can go out there and catch that. That's not what we're saying right now. We had everything drew up exactly how we wanted it. It just, the finish wasn't there that time. But those are the little differences between a team that is 7-0 and a team like us where we're trying to get that little bit of detail. Those are the things. It's not a mass thing. It doesn't have to always be mass changes. Sometimes you just got to actually dig through this funkiness. You got to go through that valley to get on top of that mountain, but you can't skip it. There is no, easy pass or no way to expedite it. You have to go through this, and eventually it will start to turn. But if you constantly go and it's like, yo, fire, 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 or it's always negative, negative, negative energy, well, how does that help those players out? How does anything negative bring anything positive? And that's the concept that, at least when I talk on this thing, even when you're talking on it, this is what we're talking about right there, man. We can go with that approach of just doom and gloom, but where's the context in it? Where is any type of how do you get out of that doom and gloom? Whereas what we're speaking on right here, it is showing you a pathway. It is.
At least we're complaining about the red zone offense now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man.
Because up to this point, it's just been, 3 and out, 3 and out.
3 and out. Man, we can't get anything. We can't get a first down. Defense on the field too long. That's not what we're hollering about anymore. We're literally saying, yo, we
against
need to
a really
score
good
touchdowns.
defense yesterday.
And think about our defense. What is the toughest part when you're playing our defense? The red zone. Think about it. We'll let you move up and down the field at times, but you're not going to score in the red zone.
And that's why those A.J. Brown touchdowns were killer. It's the opposite of the game plan or strategy we needed to have going in.
But yet we act as if it's different because it was Philly doing it. It's like, yeah, we do the exact same thing. We get stiff in the red zone. It is tough to score in the red zone. Field gets condensed. Difference was they were able to hit the jump ball, the fade ball to A.J. Brown. But those are the little things. That is little. That's not, we can't get into their side of the field. We can't get a first down. We can't do anything. That's not our issues anymore. This is progress. But you have to understand that context if you want to. Or you can ignore it and then just think that this is the worst thing ever. But you're misinformed from my perspective if that's the approach, because we can point to tangible improvement, tangible jumps. And that's all.
Since we're on this a little bit in terms of coming together, and I brought up the penalties and stuff, because that's, again, what do you contribute to that? Coaching or just players not knowing what they're doing? Because both, the penalties.
Oh, yeah. So I look at it like this, man. I can understand both elements of it.
Then I wanted to bring up, did you hear Pickett's quotes about all this stuff?
I have not just yet, but I think I have, but I'll have you read them, say them again. But in terms of the penalties part, is dual. Part of it, yes. When you say coaching got to be better, you got to have these guys understanding the rules, being more disciplined. Yes,
this has happened way too much these last 3 weeks.
So my thing is this: you are right, and as a fan, yes, me watching
illegal
it,
formation
it's like, yes.
stuff,
but
legal man down the field.
But this is the flip side, though. Honestly, me as a player, God honest truth, I don't put that on coaching. I say that's a lack of detail, because my job as a player is to know the rules. My job as a player is to know how to line up and to do it consistently. My job isn't to depend on my coach to tell me how to do this. My job is to actually cut the tape on and figure it out myself. Now, the coach is going to give me some information. He's going to help me out, and rightfully so. And the dope coaches, they'll go even above and beyond. I know the coaching staff here does that. But at the end of the day, bro, you got to be a professional. So when I look at, hey, illegal formation because Chooks isn't on the line of scrimmage, it's the little detail, and this is how it is. Line of scrimmage is this. His helmet has to break the hip of the center, okay? Center, middle man in line of scrimmage, right? So you got your guard, they're sitting back a little bit, but when they get set, they make sure their head is at least breaking that hip, right? Illusion, you want to be back a little bit further as a tackle, but you're saying to yourself, I just got to make sure I'm close to this guard. So sometimes you're leaning over a little bit, but you want to cheat a little bit further. You want to play that game. How much can I steal a step? Because I know this pass rusher is getting off the ball. The other thing we do is what? When the ball is snapped, how many times do we see our tackles and other tackles league-wide take that half a step early, right? And we always like, yo, that's false start. But it's like, nah, they let him get away with it, right? Those are just the little fine line things. So when he gets in legal formation, it wasn't a big issue, but the issue was, okay, this ref felt that he was a little bit too far back. I don't put that on coaching, because for him, he's been doing this the whole season. You're playing the game. You're trying to steal a step. It's like if you're trying to steal a base. All right, how much far can I go? Can I keep going? Can I keep going until I get caught? Like, I'm going to keep going. And for him, that was the context. Now, when you're talking about some of the other illegal formations where it's a receiver covering up an end man in the line of scrimmage, once again, it's like, bro, this rule has been in place since rec ball. You can't be if you're on the end man in the line of scrimmage, if you're an eligible receiver, you can't cover up another eligible. It is that simple. But it happens. And it doesn't just happen in Pittsburgh. But that to me is a lack of detail. If I'm a player, how do I lack that detail? Man, I'm a little tired right now. Oh, man, it ain't that big of a deal right now. Oh, man, the ref ain't gonna call it. I'm good. All right, I'm close enough. Or am I supposed to be online? Am I supposed to be off the line? I don't know. I'm gonna get in the middle. That's lack of detail. So can I put it on coaching? Sure, if you want to. But as a player that did it for 9 years, I would have never survived if I'm dependent on the coaching staff to tell me every single thing. I wouldn't have lasted as long as I did if I was dependent on the coaches to get me aligned and have me motivated and prepared for every little thing. At some point in time, you got to hold yourself accountable. At some point in time, you got to say, hey, man, I'm going to make sure that I got my stuff in order so I'm not the guy out there being the reason why. So that's why it's like I can see it being both ways. I don't put that on coaching. I put that on the player because of personal experiences. But as a fan, I could understand you looking at it and saying, hey, man, coaches have to get those guys more locked in, more in tuned. I can understand both ways.
So, all right, that's all interesting because here's what Pickett had to say. First, he says, I'm more frustrated with the penalties and the mental stuff that we're not doing offensively. You can't do it at this level, get behind the sticks, and we have the opportunity to make big plays. And we don't because penalties and things we can control.
Self-inflicted.
Keeps going on. Pickett on studying more, the playbook.
I did see that part.
We got to know what we're doing, not getting in the right spot, not having some procedural penalties, personnel, in and out of the huddle, all things we can control. There's no talent issues. Then one more, he says, not detailed. Guys need to know what we're doing. We need to study more. I don't think we study enough as a group. There's way too many penalties and stuff like that, which we can control. It's all mental. For that to happen, there's really no excuse for that.
So that sounds like what we just said. In terms of lacking the detail, do I know if I'm supposed to be on or off, right? I don't know. Let me just get in the middle right here. All right. Am I supposed to have this right here? Like, is that on coaching, though? And that's the question that we got to ask ourselves. And the 50-50 people are going to, if you want to make it a coaching issue, you put it on them. To me, I feel like your players have to be professional. You are paid to do this. We laughed at Kyler Murray, right? When that was in his contract. Hey, man, study X amount of time, right? We laughed at it. Didn't we? We laughed at it. But as you can see, this is not just a Kyler Murray issue. This is not just a one-team issue.
People are worried about him for the second half with this new Call of Duty coming out.
Hey, man, wifey had a discussion with me last night about the day going.
How was it? It's pretty good,
bro.
Huh?
I'm obsessed.
I heard it's so realistic.
Bro, it is amazing. Wifey looked at me last night. She's like, bae, I can't stand this game. I was like, why, love? I was like, you should be happy. Like, I don't bother you at night. You know, usually I'm over here, you know, sometime the research a hit and I get all touchy-feely, Deke. You know what I'm saying? She be over here like, dang, you only focus about the game now. I'm like, hey, look, love, look. All right, you want me to be more understanding anyways, right? I'm giving you some time off. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I be loving the game, man, but she is not really feeling it right now. And yes, after trick-or-treating tonight, I will be back on said game, man. Anybody can get the smoke. You already know what time it is, baby. But, yeah, man, it's fire, bro. It is fire. But this is something that is legitimate in the sense of the study time matters. And what Kenny is speaking on specifically in terms of individual study time and group study time, they do matter. And I will explain in like this. As a professional, I would study by myself to make sure that I knew what I needed to know, right? In terms of where I need to align every person that's around me, right? What is my D-line doing? What are my inside linebackers doing? What are my safeties and corners doing, right? Big understanding. Then it was, what is the offense doing? I had to do that on the front end. But we would still meet together as a unit after every practice.
What are you seeing? What am I seeing?
Absolutely, because now we're going to compare and contrast our notes. If I'm telling, hey, man, every time I get 3x1, they're running bubble screen, slant, or they're giving me a power out the run, or they're giving me toss weak. So this, I know every play is coming out of this formation, and you're over here like, bro, well, when they go in 21 personnel, I'm getting flip at 9, I'm getting play action, I'm getting naked boot. Well, now when we get in here together, I might not have had a chance to see that. I might have overlooked that. I might just not have looked at it. And now you bring that, and I'm giving you mine, and now we're on the same page. Now we're speaking the same language. So now you might not have known about 3x1 information. But now when you get it, because I've shared my notes with you, now you're hype on that. Hey, yo, Moats, this the one, right? I'm like, yup, let's get it. Oh, it's 2x1. Oh, Deke, this. And you're like, yeah. And we're on the same page. We're playing fast. But when you're not like that, when you're not in sync, you might be seeing it, and you're like, bro, come on, man, this. And I'm over there like, Deke, what are you talking about? And then the verse is, hey, Deke, this is the place to play. And you're like, bro, what? Disconnect. Because I got this information, but I haven't shared it with you. And that's why when we talk about being professional, when you're talking about doing this at a high level, all of that matters. I don't want to sound like an old person, but that's what it be like at times, man, because you do have to take that craft serious. And as you've heard, when you hear me talk about the league average, right? 2.5 years. 2.5 years because you have a ton of athletes. Everybody's a great athlete. You're either super big, super strong, super fast. And you can survive for about 2 years on your athletic ability alone. But after that, everybody's athletic. So how do you separate? How do you have longevity? And it becomes you understanding this part. When you can outthink them, when you can anticipate versus having to react. That's how you steal this step, because it's literally a game of inches. And think about the difference between Akello today is him being a couple of inches off, disrupting those passes to A.J. Brown versus him being a couple inches short and A.J. Brown catching the passes. It is literally that tight.
It's 14 points.
Yeah. So when you're talking...
And Minka picking that one off.
Yeah. So when you're talking about...
That's 21 points.
So when you talk about how do you live, how do you survive in this league, is Akello a better cover guy athletically than Edmonds? Yes. But who had more detail in those scenarios? Akello versus Edmonds doing what? All right. I might not feel like I can get the PBU, but what I can do is play through your hands. So once you put them hands up, I'm coming through that. What I can do is attack this arm right here. Those are little details. And in that moment, he's more comfortable there because big understanding. Not saying that Akello doesn't study like that, but just in those contexts, the little things. When you take it to the offense side of the ball, what Kenny is referring to at times. Man, if this guy actually knew when you're pulling around, you're not going to see anybody right now. Don't look outside. The guy's coming from the inside, though. That little detail is the difference between pull, Najee get the ball, receiver looked here, late coming back here, guy beats him inside TFL. That little detail. So when you're talking about the studying part, did the guy run the play right? Yes. Was he aligned right? Yes. Did he pull in the right direction? And was there a guy for him to block? Did he do everything correct? Yes, he technically did. But he didn't have the little understandings of the little parts of, if it is not this corner sitting right here, it's going to be this safety coming from over here. And because they don't understand that ahead of time, you are doing what? Instead of anticipating him not being there and looking here already. So when I come right here, I'm waiting on it. He's reacting to it. So I'm coming right here. I'm like, oh, I don't see him. Oh, dang, this was him. But it's too late. That is the studying. That is the little details. But we can put it on Matt Canada because it's easy, right? It's easy to just say, oh, that's a Matt Canada issue right there, man. You got to call a better play, man. Why are you running this? And that's easy to do, to say, but that doesn't make this team better because that isn't a play call issue right there. That is a execution issue. That is a little detail issue. And that's all we've been, or at least for me, I'm not a Matt Canada apologist. I can assure you of that. I am not, because he has plenty that he has to get better at as well. But when I look at this team, it's just like, man, why do we just circle Canada and say it's him when it's like, bro, it is way more than just him. It is like legit, man. And that's the frustrating part to me, at least. But when you lose in the way we losing and everybody's having their hand in it, this is kind of what we deal with.
Pickett's comments, good, right?
I did
Showing
like it.
Leadership.
Absolutely. That's
some
what
people
want.
are trying to make it seem like, oh, he's the rookie quarterback. He needs to know his plays.
It's called
but
accountability.
Yeah. I feel like if he's seeing something wrong in terms of just how the offense is operating, how we're not all together, we're not just together, like coherent, on the same page, like we're seeing from the Eagles.
Yeah.
Someone's got to step up, and he's the quarterback. I mean, that goes hand in hand with the job. So I think it's a pretty good thing.
And you know what else I like too? Most times as a player, you don't ever want to talk about guys not studying because guys get defensive. Guys take it personal because they get embarrassed at the fact they're not being professional.
We're seeing it show up on the field, though.
Exactly.
So he ain't saying anything that you're not even saying just from watching on TV.
But think about this, though. Prior to him saying that, it was so easy to just say it's a Matt Canada issue. That's all I'm saying. But when we talk about big understanding globally in terms of like, yo, this isn't a bad call. This is bad detail. That's what he's referring to when you're talking about the lack of studying, when you're talking about not being on the same page, not understanding the little details. People don't want to hear that because that isn't as simple. That's not as just fire this guy and everything is better. Or just pull this quarterback and everything. Remember, that was a conversation, right? If you pull Mitch out, man, put this guy in, we're fine. Well, Mitch ain't blocking this dude on the edge right here. Mitch ain't got to hold up against Javon Hargrave. Mitch ain't got to pick up Hassan Reddick right here. That's like, those are some of the stuff, man. But until this team operates with that type of urgency, that type of detail, we're going to continue to feel like this. We're going to continue to point fingers and we're going to continue to lose games. And that's the unfortunate part. But hopefully, going forward, they can change that, man.
Well, I was going to say, with Pickett,
they got opportunity. Absolutely.
There's got to be some type
they got
of
opportunity,
fork in the road here.
Come on now.
Throughout the bye, throughout the week leading up to this Saints game, maybe there are going to be some extra group study sessions.
Absolutely. And I did want to get this real quick. El Vesquero 19. I'm glad you brought this one up. Running a screenplay on 3rd and 20.
We had to.
No.
Which place you thought? Whenever we were backed up, and we had to do that.
Let's get to that though, because once again, right?
We had to do that.
It's easy to say what, man, Matt Canada, give her a ball. Why are you doing this? Well, the reason why was, remember, second down. What did they do? Run play, because they were doing what? Minimizing the damage, trying not to have a turnover or give up another sack. Because at that point in the game, what were we starting to see? Our protection was starting to get beat. It was starting to get negative. We had just given a big play.
You didn't want the Eagles.
You didn't want them to do that,
Kenny, because they did that. Whenever we tried, remember it was 30 seconds before the half.
Absolutely. So that is why you do that. Not a buster move, a smart move. But that's not appeasing to people. People want to just be aggressive for the sake of being aggressive. That's not how you win at this level. That's reckless. That's how you get beat in a hurry at this level. So it's like, I get it. It's frustrating, but you got to understand. Like, that is a good decision by Canada in that vein right there, man. Because if he drops back, man, that thing strip sack or whatever, man, we know.
Yeah, you had to. You had to take your medicine at that point.
Absolutely, man. But that's a part of it, man. Every play isn't going to be a touchdown. Everything isn't going to be aggressive. Every call isn't going to be like perfect. But some of those things, it does make sense to minimize damage, keep yourself in the game, and then go forward. So that was the decision with that, baby.
Okay, we want to get back on these supers.
Heck yeah, let's do it, man.
So we got to 11:30. We're on a good pace here.
We actually are,
50 minutes.
We already got the read out. Shout out to Vincero. We already knocked them out. Oh, like the stream. Subscribe. You haven't subscribed. I forgot to say that. Make sure I say that as well. All right. So, yeah, man, we're good, man.
Fish Momentum. Both Ambition shows on Friday, November 25th and December 30th. I don't know where, though. He didn't let us know where. I think one of them's at Rivers, right? And the other one was Craft House.
I was about to say it was the Craft L House, one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We got AJ Martinez. Dang, Moats. I thought Deke was under attack. I was ready to beam Deke up to the USS Enterprise. Captain Kirk to the rescue. Pound the rock. We went out.
Dang.
What's he talking about?
I don't know.
When was I under attack?
I don't know. You was under attack. I don't know. Were they getting on you?
No, I'm fine. I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't know either. Yeah.
Because I didn't go out to Philly.
I didn't either.
I was good. I was pretty safe this weekend.
And Kirk Cousins took care. He do. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call of Duty weekend for Kyler. I should have known. I need to do better studying on my picks. I think Kenny was talking to me too.
He definitely talking to me. I'm still operating on a bad sleep pattern right now. Oh, it's terrible.
Twan Lavins. Fire Matt Canada, sabotaging the season.
There it is.
No, going back to what we were talking about. I saw the offense move the ball too many times yesterday to really have that takeaway. You got to give him credit for the touchdown too. I mean, he drew it up. The Claypool, the Pittsburgh special.
He did. And when you talk about self-scouting, what did he know? We run this jet sweep. Everybody gonna believe this.
True. Derek Watt, he actually got him incorporated too.
A couple times.
Made him worth the contract.
He had a couple catches and he had a tackle, man. Yeah. But bro, that was I had a fan moment. I remember I laughed to myself when it happened. I legit lost my mind for like a split second. Like, this dang go jet sweep. God dang it. Touchdown. We're good. Yeah.
No, but back to everything we've been saying. We moved the ball. Now the problem is, can we score in the red zone?
Yeah.
Let's focus on that now. If we can continue to improve upon that, that just goes to show that good things are happening and the constant improvements happening. It's not pretty because we still want more points from yesterday. We still want to win games, but I'm still seeing some stuff.
No,
little by little.
And I'm still not even saying that at the end of the year you retain Matt Canada. That's not what I'm saying either. But what I am saying is
the numbers are there for his offense these last couple of years.
But what I am saying is this: number one, you do have a lot of potential currently, as it currently sits. Now the question is, can you tap into it? And that's the part where it's like, okay, maybe Matt Canada isn't the guy that can get the best or the most from them.
For this offense, because we saw it last year. It's like, let's not run this college system with
it doesn't
Ben
work with this.
Roethlisberger.
Right, and that could legitimately be the case. And I do think at times, even with Najee, it's almost like, man, does he fit what Matt Canada's trying to do? But this is also why, for me, I'm not big on trying to move a lot of these pieces, because if you're not going to retain Matt Canada long term, why move a Najee right now? Why move a Claypool right now when you might bring in a guy that does, resonate with those guys a little bit better, connects with them a little bit better, and is able to get more out of them? Because we're not saying they're not talented. We just don't feel like it's productive enough. But if that is truly a coordinator issue, why do anything now when you're not even planning to build with this long term?
Yeah, and I was just thinking this too. If you were to ask Kenny, does he want Canada fired right now? No. And I don't think even we should want it from a fan's perspective, because I don't want to go down the Browns road of,
absolutely, man,
Kenny has 4 coordinators in 5 years.
And what does that do?
5 coordinators in 5 years.
And what does that do? It kills your development. It kills your foundation. Right now, like it or love it, like it or hate it, Kenny is getting a chance to build his foundation. He's getting a chance to learn professionally what this is like, and then you build upon that. And as we talked about, man, even with Canada's offense, it's still a lot of positive plays that are left on the field out there, where it's like literally the 50-50 type situation or stuff like that. But to me, I don't think that you want to stunt the growth or the progress that we do see taking place right now by doing any type of changes. Now, I don't think the team will anywho, but just in the sense of, it's like, man, you finish out where we have right now, and then from there you evaluate it. Okay, who was a guy that was able to perform down the stretch? Who was a guy that actually showed up? Who was the guys that started to quit on you as well? Those are some of the things you're looking at as well right now, man. You want to see who are the guys that are professional, who are the guys that are weak-minded, who are the guys that are, high and low, like how fans could be at times, and who are the guys that are going to be constant and always show up and do what they're supposed to do. That's what you're also looking at. But when you start doing big scapegoat type moves or big fire sales, that sends a different type of message into your team. And I don't think the Steelers want to send that type of messaging to this team right now.
Right. First couple steps just immediately is clean up our own stuff with the penalties.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it goes back to what you're saying. This isn't necessarily like a Canada issue. Let's clean that up. And then with Pickett, it goes back to what you said. Can we clean it up a little bit more? Don't have that fumble. Who knows if we score there? 1-score game. Defense maybe has some momentum. They're feeling it.
Just changes a lot, man. But those are little, like,
offensive line block better. If just those things happen, we could be a better team going into the Saints game and a better offense.
And the Saints pass rush is not like the Eagles pass rush either. Like, do they have a Cam Jordan? Yes. But they don't have the 6 and 7 type dudes that the Eagles could send at you body-wise. That is a different context. When you talk about their secondary versus the Eagles secondary, it's a little bit different. Now, they have better linebackers than Philly's linebackers, but that's a different animal that you're going to be dealing with over there. But those are the things, man. When you this is why we keep saying it's like literally a small. It's where we're at, man.
Yeah, and then other thing is just get better in the red zone now too. But that goes hand in hand with running the ball better, and running the ball better, that could be the offensive line blocking better. I just felt like they took a step back. But again, Eagles are a good team. We're not going to be facing an Eagles team or a Bills team the rest of the way.
And if we and just think about it, we circled our one-on-one matchups in this game, and if we took the team names off, not Steelers, not Eagles, nobody's affiliated to anybody, how many of those matchups also will we look and say, no, we would take that player from Philly over this player from Pittsburgh, but because we know we're Steelers and they're Eagles, we just feel that our guy should be better, or our guys, man, you should be able to beat A.J. Brown. Why? A.J. Brown, an all-pro, Pro Bowler, second contract guy, big-time receiver. But why do we feel like that? Because it's a Steeler. If Akello played for any other team, and that was A.J. Brown versus Akello with this one, we'd all be looking like, oh, you stupid as heck for doing that one-on-one. But because it's Pittsburgh, that's why. And that's why we feel a little bit more heightened when bad stuff happens. It's like, God, man, we got to fire this coach, man. Why? Man, we better than this. And it's like, dude, sometimes it's a bad matchup. Sometimes they do got better players. In Philly, at times yesterday, when you look at that D-line versus our offensive line, you could see the disconnect. But it's also a lot more talent, a lot more money in that offensive line. I mean, in their D-line as well then. When you talk about Fletcher Cox, Hargrave, Hassan Riddick, Robert Quinn, Josh Sweat. Like,
we're missing $30 million of a guy that should be in our front seven. They weren't. They were basically completely healthy across the board. And we were missing Ogunjobi too. Yep. We still got pressure, though. Our defensive line wasn't that big of a problem yesterday. Absolutely not. Let's see who we got next. Let's go UW. Go figure. My Pokes get bowl eligible for the second year in a row, just in time for the Steelers to fall apart.
Shout out to the Cowboys, man.
The Pokes.
Yeah. Josh gave him a go Pokes last night too, man. Go Pokes.
I fell asleep midway through that game.
I could understand.
I woke up to see that I covered.
I was happy for you, man. I was just.
I got
was
amazing.
enjoying
I probably
it,
got a 13 hours of sleep yesterday. It was amazing. I needed it so bad. Yeah, because on Friday, Saturday, I think I only got like 4 or 5.
Okay.
I really needed that.
I got you. Yeah, man. After I was watching the game, I was like, I'm gonna watch some film, and then I had to go tap in. Then after that, I passed out. Yep.
And now you're here.
And now I'm here. Yep.
Let's go UW. With all the penalties, as much as I love Tomlin being a players-friendly coach, at what point does he have to get the team more disciplined? Well, we kind of talked about that.
We did. And going forward, things that he can do in terms of his side to reiterate the fact that these guys need to be more professional is just tapping their pockets more and not giving players the benefit of the doubt. Now, I don't know how much of that he's currently doing with this group because they are a fairly young team. But from our experiences when we went and had our stretch of bad play or stretch of inconsistency, the way that he started to hold us more accountable was being more of a, stricter coach in terms of the practice setting, in the vein of, bless you.
Thank you.
In the vein of, if you do not make this play to the exact same level that you make it in a game, then no, you're absolutely wrong and that does not count. Redo it. You can do that, but it's a very thin line that you toe if the results don't come after that, because then you just become, militant for the sake of being militant, but the results aren't there. For us, it ended up working out because while he went militant, we ended up winning more. And then he kind of dialed his foot back off of it, and we just kept going forward, and everything was fine. But we were also a lot more mature of a team during that time frame. Whereas with this group, it's like we talked about it. It's not a lot of, this guy has been here. He's won a lot. He understands what it takes. When you talk about just the comment of Kenny Pickett talking about the studying, who are you turning to if you're Kenny? Mitch, you view him as competition / a contemporary, but you're not going to be leaning on him exclusively. Mason, I doubt that you're turning to him looking for guidance. When we talk about our receivers, who's the big study guy? Who's the guy that they're turning to? Is it Deontay? Is it Claypool? It's like these dudes are still young in their own right. They're not, the ultra vets that we talk about in the past. Offensive line, we already discussed those dudes. Not a lot of age there either. So when you look at a young team, it's like part of me does ask, all right, is this where Coach Tomlin does have to be a little bit more aggressive, more assertive, because he doesn't have a group that is mature enough to handle the freedom, so to speak? And that's something that I can't attest to because I'm not down there every day.
Right.
We can speculate on it, but he knows those guys better than any of us. And his track record has spoken for itself in the sense of how many times has he corrected? How many times has he righted a ship when it's been bad? And that's why his track record is what it is. So I'm not going to waver on that just because right now the forecast doesn't look good and this could potentially be the first losing season for him in how many years? I'm just not there with it just yet, man. So, that's my mindset.
And this is a little bit to the side because we were talking about Canada, but some people are bringing up in the chat, we have the last offense in the league whenever you're talking about rankings and stuff. And I'm not trying to be – I don't think either of us are trying to be naive to that. We need to put up more points. We need to do better. But I just don't know what good it does anything to Canada right now.
It'll make people feel better, and then they'll be complaining about somebody else when
because the only solution is you just promote Mike Sullivan. That's really it.
But then they don't want you to promote from within either, even though in this context it's like, well, you would have to once again.
Yeah, you know what I mean, and like we've been talking about too. There's been too many little things too, where we actually could start dropping some 20 points on teams going forward here, because that was. You correct me if I'm wrong on this. That might have been the best we moved the ball consistently as an offense.
If you want to acknowledge it, it's there. But once again, it's like you would have to.
We were in the red zone. How many times? Was it 4 times?
Let me see.
I think it was 4 times we were in the red zone. We ended up.
Let me see. Do we got our red zone? 3.
Was it 3?
Yeah, we were 1 for 3. 1 for 3 in the red zone.
I think when Pickett.
It was
fumbled,
like on the fridge.
When Pickett fumbled, we were close. Right. That was on the verge of our little comeback we were trying to mount right there. But yeah, I mean, I'm not naive to, we need to do better and everything, and maybe Canada is a part of that. But there are little things that we are doing better. I just don't think it would really do much good to fire him right now for a lot of reasons, for Pickett's development and just the team as a whole, because you're not replacing him with some star offensive coordinator. And if you were doing that, I don't know if that would be that amazing, because we've been in this system this whole offseason for, the last 2 years, because there are a lot of turnover, even though we don't have Ben anymore. Right. There's a lot of turnover from the guys that have been in-house under Canada. So what good is that going to do? But like you said, if it stays the same the rest of the season, it's all warranted to get rid of him. All warranted.
And trust me, I've said it a couple of times, right? At the end of the season, that's on the table. At the end of the season, that's legitimate. But it makes sense at that stage of it versus
we're still
now.
The last ranked team in the league.
That doesn't make sense to do it now when you're talking about how many we've already had a change at quarterback within our first 7 games. So it's like, that's a massive ordeal. When you talk about just trying to figure out what was the identity going to be, who was going to be what, Najee Harris, and what's going on with him as well. It's a lot of stuff that's going into this situation. So that's why it's like, no, you continue to give it time this season. We're not saying that this is a prolonged thing. If, like you said, at the end of the year, it still is what it is number-wise, and we don't, in terms of, progress. We're like, nah, this thing that sputtered, we don't have any progress. It's nothing different going on, and we're still seeing the same stuff. Then it's like, yeah, man, you go ahead and make the move.
Yeah, because right now we only have 4 or 5 games with Kenny Pickett and Canada as a combo. Because someone's bringing up, one could argue Canada is killing Kenny's development. That's the last thing we want to happen. But I just think at this point, 4 or 5 games is a little too soon. And as we're seeing all these little signs and little tweaks that we can make after the bye, and which could make the offense better. Yeah. If that doesn't happen, if none of this stuff happens and it's like the same stagnant offense the latter half of the season, then yes, by all means, make the change. Because we could maybe find someone who's a better offensive guru that could unlock these guys' potential.
Absolutely.
But right now, I just don't know if it does anyone really any good. Crystal Pravant.
Shout out to Crystal.
Moats should dress as the Steelers playbook. Scary. Did you see the one post that had, because there's a meme going around with, it's like a Halloween packaging, and people are putting their own little custom edits in it. The one with Canada on it, and then like the little details. It was pretty good.
It was like playbook included, something like I know you talking about
10 playbook included. I forget what there was 2 other. It was, and then it'd be
like something not included. Yeah,
that would have been an easy costume. You just get a straw hat or something, and then put on some glasses, have a little bit of a scruffle beard, put on a Steeler long sleeve or a Steeler hoodie, and then have a headset. That would have been easy. Jared Smith. Looking forward to a high draft pick at this point. We either need a very good O-lineman or a true lockdown corner.
All right. Well, I'm glad that, you got your mind made up, baby. Yeah.
Those would be good draft picks. Autumn McCaddy. Morning, Moats and Deke.
Tapping them on in.
Hoping that the Steelers come out of the bye more disciplined and focused. Here's hoping for the best the rest of the way. You guys hear Bill Cowher's rant?
This was you.
We kind of talked about it a little bit. He was just like, we got to get to run the football. We need to help pick it out. Part of that's due to the offensive line just got to block a little bit better. Or the blocking injury, because you just keep up bringing the receivers.
Yeah, because it's across the board. Like, the O-line definitely has to be better, but it's across the board, man. When you hear we talk about it takes all 11 in terms of the running game, man, like, that's legit. And when one person does not make their block or does not sustain their block, that does change a lot of the outcome, because now a hole that might have been where you want to hit this by design, you can't, because there's color there. And now you have to do a little bit more moving. Now for Najee, that does not absolve him of this. He wants to be a little running back in a big running back's body, all the shaking and lateral stuff, that doesn't absolve that. But when you're talking about some of the holes or the lack thereof, I do feel like a lot of that is based on what he's seeing, because I'm looking at the same thing and it's like, dude, that's not where you want to go with this, because that dude's there, and that dude's there because this dude didn't sustain his block, or the run is happening. I'm like, okay, he's about to get out of this thing. Who made the tackle? All right, well, let me just go back and look at the player that made the tackle and what happened. That's the funny thing to do. You should try that every once in a while. Just whoever makes a tackle on a running play, when you go back and watch, just rewind it and watch that player the whole time and see who he beats, and you'll be surprised at times. You'd be like, oh, he beat him? Ooh. Oh, that guy was supposed to make... Oh, wait a minute. He actually did block him? Oh, he just kicked his butt at it? Yeah. That happens a good amount, man.
I'll look into it.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a new little study habit I developed.
Yeah. I guess I don't do a ton of putting that out there because it doesn't fit a lot of narratives, man. It can hurt feelings at times. But yeah,
Steeler
don't
Nation,
lie to me, baby. Don't lie.
Steeler Nation on fire. Call the Panthers about Horn. 100%.
I'm with it, bro.
100%
it makes
right
sense.
now. Please.
We only got, what, a day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please. Please give up the first round pick. I'm not even seeing Horn on any trade block talks.
I don't think they're going to touch him. I mean, in terms of give him up, I don't think they're going to do it.
No, they almost won yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the NFC South
Well,
is
just
pretty
think,
dismal
man,
right now. They might feel like they have a chance.
Hey, and if you got
they just beat Brady.
Think about it, you got a shutdown corner and a pass rusher. You all right? You could build with that.
Yeah, I don't think he's one of the guys they want to get rid of.
You build with that, man.
Steely Dawn. Who calls the fake punt? OC, special teams coach, or Tomlin? That's a great play.
So, shout out to Danny Smith. But it's Coach Tomlin green lights it. Danny Smith calls it. So, the way the operation typically works, sometimes Danny Smith is the one who will bring it up to Coach Tomlin because those two dudes are really locked in terms of the special teams and understanding tips and tendencies. All right, they do this at this part of the field. They'll go punt safe. And when they go punt safe, these two interior D linemen, they don't like to fire off the ball. Or, hey, man, when they go with this particular look, turns the two guys on the outside versus our gunners, we know that we got a numbers matchup on the inside. So, in certain parts of the game, Danny might go to Coach T, like, hey, there's one of the ones right here. Or Coach T might go to Danny.
I'm glad they did it because I wanted us to go for it anyway.
I did too. It was
at that point in the game. It's just like, go for it. It was 4th and 2.
Mm-hmm.
We were down double. It's just like, bro, we need to get something here.
But it goes back and forth with those two guys, man. But dope call, great execution. Shout out to Marcus Allen right there. And he's also balling out. Not only did he get that pickup, but he also had a couple tackles on special teams as well. So shout out to him. But it's Mike Tomlin and Danny Smith. Danny is the one who designs it all, and he has everything lined up. He's ready to go. It's just more so Coach Tomlin green lighting it. So yeah.
Damon Brown, can someone please explain to Najee the difference between being a football running back and a damn hurdler? Someone brought up in the chat too, and being a TikToker as well with all the dancing he does. Yeah. 30 needs to start so he can show 22 how to take the handoff and run forward instead of foot shuffling. Shout out to Trina.
Yes. Like I said, we talked about some of the stuff with the running game, but yeah, that is the part for Najee that's the big difference right now. Jalen is not doing all this lateral. Jalen is foot in the ground and he's seeing it and he's going to get it. Whereas Najee, he is trying to dance his way up out of this thing, man. And he's just not designed to do that. He's trying to be a dance first, power runner second, when he is a power runner first, dancing running back second. And I think, when he can get that flipped and get it back in the right order, you will see a better version of Najee. And understanding who Najee is and, how he's gotten to where he's gotten, he's a dude that's going to get that corrected. I do anticipate, him throughout the bye week self-scouting, because that's what you do on the bye week. This week right now is not about the Saints. It's about what we have done well and what we have struggled with. And that's how you start to make those leaps. And that's when you talk about the bye week being so important, not just from a health standpoint.
This is perfect time. I'm so glad it is right
dude.
Now as opposed to being at like week 4 or 5.
Yeah. So it's like now where we're at, it's like, okay, we do have a good sample size of what we did well and what we struggled with. Now you start building upon that. So for Najee, when you look at some of the plays where he's jumping over defenders instead of just putting his head down and going. When you're looking at Najee, when he's trying to shake, I'm like, bro, you doing a whole bunch of shaking. I'm like, you just giving us a little titty show. That's it.
Run forward, please.
I'm like,
it's
man,
2 yards.
I'm like, bro, we ain't tripping on you giving us a little flashy flash. Like, look at these 22 shake, baby. You see these shaking? I'm like, yeah, but you ain't going anywhere, man. Like, that's the stuff where he's going to look on tape and he's going to understand that. He's like, you know what? Yeah, put a foot in the ground and just get north or south. So I do bank on him improving in that area.
Yeah, because that's definitely not from a lack of effort. He's trying his damnedest to make these little jukes and stuff.
Absolutely. But it's like, bro, you're not a juker. Like, you don't scare anybody with your shake. Your shake is set up off of your power. You're a power puncher. Mike Tyson. Hook this dude to death, man. Body punch, like hit this dude hard. You're not a jab, dance around pretty boy Floyd. Look at the head movement. That's not your game. You're Mike Tyson. Go be Mike Tyson, bro. Go be Tyson. Go out there and hit hard, man.
And that's what I was thinking whenever he busted off that 18-yard run. At the end of it, there were 3 Eagles around him, and he was running them over. I was just thinking, like, yeah, those dudes probably don't want to tackle Najee right now.
Yeah.
Can you only imagine if we were doing that 10, 15 times a game? They'd be done with them by the 3rd or 4th quarter. It's like beast mode,
exactly like that. But he's not doing that right now. He giving us a little shaky shake.
I got to bring it up because, this is a topic. Warren RB1?
I mean, it's legitimate in terms of the conversation. I understand the difference in terms of how defenses play both of those guys, and that is context. But at the end of the day, productivity is productivity. So, yes, I can see a difference of when defenses attack Najee versus how they attack Jalen, but I don't care anymore because Jalen does continue to be
when he
productive.
Gets the ball, you're seeing burst, you're seeing playmaking.
Whether it's in the run game or as a receiver, it's there.
And you don't mean to tell me if Warren does become a focus in the passing game, that wouldn't be helping out Pickett?
That's all I'm saying,
It's almost reminiscent of some of those Patriot teams we've talked about. We were talking about them like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. If we could have Warren just off in the backfield, Pickett dumps it off to him, but with how fast he is and how dudes are just falling off him,
and because
he could be picking up 5-7 yards like that.
And he's decisive. Think when Najee catches the ball, what's the first thing he's doing?
Shaking.
And it's like, bro, who are you shaking? Just go. The one play that everybody went crazy on, like catches, it was like, I think it was like
third and two,
and it's like nobody over there. It's like, it should be easy first down, and he's getting like 0 yards or a loss on it. It was like, how?
You're right. Who are you shaking? Because the DB was still 2 or 3 yards away.
He's shaking. It's like, bro, that's not scary. Big dude doing that's not scary. You're letting that go off the hook. What is scary to that DB is you catching this thing and you saying, I'm running you over.
Or even stiff arming the dude like he did a ton of times last year.
That's how you set up the shake, though. It's set off with the physicality for him. Now, when you look at a Jalen is burst. But you also see him finishing and he catches guys off guard, so to speak, because he's going so fast. You're like, bro, I got to keep up. Boom. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. Now, if Jalen came out in every run, he's trying to run guys over, that's not the same case, would it be? That's not his game. But his game is, I'm going to get it. I'm explosive. And that gives me some more power. That helps me when you talk about guys falling off of him, right? If he ran the same way that Najee ran, he ain't going to be having guys falling off him either. But because he's pushing the issue, he's making those defenders have to max out and say, oh, I got to get with this dude. Now it changes your dynamic. Now it's changing how you play him defensively. So I'm with you. I want to see more of him. And if that has to be a 60-40 split, if it has to be like what Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott got going on in Dallas, if it's that, man, so be it. But we can't keep watching this rushing attack look the way that it looks just because this guy's the first rounder. I get it. Like, I'm not saying you move completely on from him, but at some point in time, you have to make a decision that, hey, this guy is playing better than this guy. Give him more opportunities.
Right, and maybe the break could be good for Najee, and he could do the self-scouting you're talking about. But that's why we got the bye right now.
And sometimes, maybe it pisses him off too.
Right, exactly.
Because that's another dynamic. When you get pulled or when you feel your snaps start to decrease, you get pissed off by it. You like, bro, man, what am I doing? All right, how can I get better? And then you start to do it. And if you don't, well, then your snaps continue to go the other way. But I'm with you, man. I do feel like 30 has to get more opportunities, man.
I could just see him being a James White type of dude or a Dion Lewis type of
Rex
dude in
Burkhead,
our offense.
I
don't know if he's the pass catcher that some of those guys were, but he hasn't proven otherwise at this point.
But right now, all I need him for is screens, dump offs, and a swing route, screen and swing routes. Get it to him early and let him be a player. Trust his eyes and trust his athletic ability.
All that Patriots offense was with all those guys. Yeah, Brady would drop back and do like little dink and dunks. Beat this and
guy.
No one could tackle him.
Because it's going to be one-on-one, and when you're playing a guy like that in open space, man, that is tough to deal with, man. That's very tough to deal with. And Najee could be as well if Najee ran with his physicality. But he's not. And that's part of why we're having the conversation that we are having, man. And it's been happening for an extended period of time while Jalen has been being productive as well. And this is the storm that we're in right now, man.
Steeler Nation on fire. I'm not understanding this one. He says, Mike Tomlin better work thesis and practice. Expect TJ.
Maybe say Mike Tomlin better work these guys in practice except TJ.
He says expect TJ. Maybe he means accept.
Yeah, because I'm thinking because it's the bye week, he's like, oh, you got to get on these guys hard except for TJ because like he's been out, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe Tomlin could yell at TJ, you should have healed faster.
Yeah, something, man. Why you get your knee hurt while you was healing your pec? Come on, man. Crystal
Pravat. Najee just run a MF or over. Hurdle plus stiff arm.
Yeah. No, she said minus hurdle plus the stiff arm.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah, we don't need you jumping, just stiff arm. Yeah. I was like, man, how you gonna hurdle and jump?
He's had some success with the hurdle, but you're right. The
But it's
main
set up
part
off
of
of
his
him running
game
guys
last
over.
year was running and stiffing dudes over.
And when did he start jumping last year? It was when guys started trying to cut his legs out because he was running them over.
Yeah.
He was stiff on. He was physical. Now, as soon as you run up, he's instant. You could tell he's about to jump. I'm like, bro, you're getting on your tippy toes. Like, it's like Fred Flintstone. Here we go. Here I go. Here I go. Here I go. Ah. It's like, bro, you ain't fooling nobody. Everybody know you about to jump.
Lou boy. I don't understand why we stopped running the draw play with 30. We did that same play with Najee, and that was Najee's best run.
Mm-hmm.
18 yards.
Mm-hmm. But we had execution, and we also caught the Eagles in a good call defensively. They were also in their too high look. I want to say the one with Jalen, they were doing, I want to say one was the 2-man and one was the Tampa because like the middle guy was like bailing it, and we were able to catch it. So it's a good call, good execution as well though, and good blocking across the board, man.
Yeah. C-Dez86. I figured out Deke's band name, by the way. It's Sabotage 7. That would be a good band name, actually.
And I like how he spells out 7 too.
That's actually a pretty good band name. Brilla92. Tired of seeing 22 hit the Cupid shuffle every time he gets the ball. If we want a tank, just keep handing it off to him.
Hey, son.
Says Warren, RB1. Marcus Allen, RB2.
Hey, he picked up the tough yards, man. I wish said the Cupid shuffle, bro.
That's funny. CJ's gamer tag. All these casuals takes are incredibly bad this week. One this week. Wait.
In terms of the casual, the takes that the casual fans are making.
Incredibly bad this week.
Yeah.
One this week is
Najee's a bust and Kenny a bust. Like, because people, when we talk about the hot takes,
I needed a comma period there. I'm sorry. I'm confused. Yeah. All right. One of the takes this week is Najee being a bust and Kenny is a bust.
From the casual fans. Yeah.
We have no identity on offense, constant penalties, and run pass predictability is bad.
So that's what he was referring to. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Deke was like, bro, what? Hold on. I don't know what you're trying to say. I'm glad we got two sets of eyes because some of the ones I'd be like, yo, I'm so lost. And you'll be like, nah, it's this one. I'm like, you sure?
Oh, and I'm not mad about it. Trust me, my grammar's not good whenever I send out text.
Well, it is fun. It breaks it up a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Joe Gerbis. Is this what it feels like to be the Browns all these years? Ben owned them. Moats and Deke love Mink, but damn, also love the stream.
Is this what it felt like to be a Brown all the years that Ben owned them? I don't think so because those teams were like, I don't know, they just feel like they're way worse. And it was like they had a boogeyman. We don't have a boogeyman right now. We inconsistent land, man, you know? Like for them, it was like, yo, 7 is coming. Who do we feel like that right now? We don't feel like that about anybody that we facing.
I feel like they never had any hope either. Any of those teams.
Yeah, that's the difference for us versus them.
Like we got our future franchise quarterback in-house. I still feel like the defense is good. We're getting TJ Watt back. There's a lot of things. All right, let's go UW.
Let's get it.
You know, I'm starting to think Najee's issue is him trying to play hero ball. It kills quarterbacks who do it, and you think it's killing Najee. Needs a clear head.
I mean, I can't speak specifically to the mindset for him, but I could understand if that's the conclusion that you drew because he does look like he's doing stuff that is not characteristic to what he typically does. And if that is related to him trying to be an overachiever, well, yeah, I'm hopefully that he'll understand that and have a change of mentality. But I still think that for him, man, he just has to get back to understanding what type of player he is and where he has the most success. Just because you might have had success jumping over guys, that does not mean that is the type of player that you are. And that's the thing that I think that he's going to have to really dial back into. You can have success doing something once or twice, and that's fine, but that's not what you do predominantly. The odds of you doing it consistently, we talk about probability, right? And it's like, can you win a game throwing the ball 45, 50 times? Yes, you can. But when you're talking about doing it over a full, 16, 17 game sample size, the probability of you always making the right decision, always making the right pass in those moments is not as high. So for Najee, it's like, yeah, man, you've had success jumping over a guy. Yeah, you might have shook a guy before, and that's cool. But you're not going to have a ton of success long-term wise trying to do that every single time. And I think for him, once he gets a better understanding of that, he will continue to improve and get back to the running back that we really enjoyed a year ago,
Philip Hopkins. You think it would be too simplistic to put Najee and Warren out at the same time in early downs, like a 1 wide receiver, 2 tight end, 2 running back RPO type of set to help disguise the run?
Like I said, we can and you can do it at times, but there are tells to that as well. Even watching the game last night with the Packers, they do it. A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, they'll have them both out there at the same time at times. And they'll even have A.J. Dillon block for Aaron Jones at times. But that's the difference in the sense of what we would be asking our guys to do. Are you willing to ask Najee to go be a lead blocker for Jaylen Warren? Because as a defender, I'm looking at that and I'm saying Jaylen Warren is not going to be a lead blocker for Najee. If he is, I'm just going to run through that. I'm not worried about it, just mindset-wise. So the disguise, it can work. It can be there. But at the same time, if you're not executing out of it or you're not running legit plays out of it like that, it becomes more of a tip than it does necessarily a benefit. Think with Derek White, right? In the past, you've heard me talk about if you're going to use a fullback, the productivity has to be there because he brings a lot of attention. Fullback on the field, we know running wise, he's going to be your tail. He is taking you to the ball. He's taking you to the ball every single time. And if he doesn't, it's kind of like, man, why did you run the fullback away and ran this way and now I got this guy coming over there to hit the running back? It's like, nah, you don't bring him out there for misdirection. You can do it on occasion, but you bring him out there to be the lead blocker, to be the battering ram. So if that guy isn't getting movement, you don't keep calling it. So when it comes to the 2-back set like that, that's a part of the pros and cons with that. So like I said, I don't hate it, but at the same time, it's just like, are we going to be doing it the way that the Packers are doing it? Now, Najee and A.J. Dillon, they ain't too far off in size.
Right.
So, I mean, you could. But I don't know.
You're right. It might be too much of a tell.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
it's probably different with Warren just being a blocker, pass protecting, than being the lead blocker.
Yeah, that's a night and day. It's very different, man.
I'm not saying he can't do it.
Right, and that's the thing. We haven't seen it. It could work.
Because he is pretty vicious with his blocking.
I just think it's a different mindset, man. When you talk about, hey, Jalen, come downhill and make this blocker, and it's like, yo, all right, I ain't worried about you cutting me either. Like, because you ain't cutting on a run play in the hole like that. Because if you cut the running back going, he ain't got nowhere to go. So you got to stay up, so to speak. I ain't tripping on that right now, man. And I'm not worried about, is this quarterback going to try to scramble out the front side, back side? It's like, no, I just got this gap. So my job is to put you to sleep right here in this A gap, and I'm going to get the tackle afterwards. If I knock you out, he going to make the play. Whereas when you trying to get the quarterback, it's like, bro, I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about this guy. So you might catch me. You know what I mean? That could happen. But it's a lot of detail in terms of the different stuff when you're asking a running back to do the blocking element of it. Like that.
All right, we got like 13 minutes.
We can make it work. Come on.
I'll rattle these off.
We cooking.
Vincent Martinez. As I was watching the game, tough loss, but when it comes to the fumble, my friend who is a Raiders fan said if that was Brady, tuck rule?
Didn't they get rid of the tuck rule, I thought? Now it has to be like if your arm isn't going, like it has to be a throwing motion. He wasn't throwing. He was just like taking off.
Oh, well, you know what? Speaking of rules, that one that they called Pickens for incomplete, that was a catch. If it was back in 2017 when they had the whole Jesse James rule in, you got to complete the catch and everything, they changed that a couple years ago. That was a catch. Like, he had it, completed it, dude touched him, he's down, and then they knocked the ball out. Yeah. I was pissed about that. We ended up getting the first down anyway,
for
but
me,
still.
I'm not going to lie, bro. Like, I was hoping that it was a catch. But because I've been burnt too many times when we talk about, is this a catch, is not a catch on challenges.
They kept saying it too. Romo and Nance were like, come on, call the challenge, the challenge.
But I forgot what game it was where oh my gosh. I feel like all these games run together at times, man. But it was like, I've definitely seen that scenario recently where we're like, oh no, man, it has to be a catch. This is a catch. And it's like, what? That wasn't a catch? Like, I just felt like that.
I didn't think it was a catch live.
I just felt like that
when they showed the replay. I was like, wait, that was definitely a catch.
Like I said, it could have been. It definitely could have been. I wasn't 100% confident on it either. That's all I'm saying.
AJ Martinez.
But it definitely could have been, though. And 100%. If that's how y'all view it, man, it definitely could. I just didn't feel confident with it.
I think if it was 2017, they would have said no catch because of the whole completed catch rule. But now since they changed that, I think it was definitely a catch.
For sure.
Good morning, Miss Trina. This is from AJ Martinez. The chat, D. Brown, Barbarian, Kelly, and Trina. Hang in there, Mom.
There it is.
Happy Halloween. Sabotage 7. I just saw a half-nude woman walking down the street in a Halloween costume in 40-degree weather.
All right. That's a lot going on. That's a lot going on right there.
AJ Martinez always got the story.
I'm glad he don't live in my neighborhood. I don't need to see a half nigga walking down the street at 40 degrees this early in the morning. I don't need that right now, man.
Steeler Nation on fire. It seems like there's no changing the play.
Offensively, maybe he's referring to.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hannibal 090 has joined the upper room.
Oh, shout out to Hannibal 090 and woke up to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Troy Mason Jr. Najee thinks he's 200 pounds. Bro, you are 240. Plant your foot and go. Stop trying to be Reggie Bush and be more Nigerian nightmare.
Oh, yeah. Chris Okoye. I think it says it right. Yeah, if I remember correctly. Christian Okoye. Yeah.
Stop trying to be Reggie Bush.
Yeah, be more like Lindell. Be more Lindell White than Reggie Bush. There we go.
Or how about Derrick Henry?
That too.
Ryan Duran. Moats, we need to run that duty.
Ooh, okay. Have a little fun one time.
Mr. B. Malarkey. 30 is looking for trouble. Can we go big body and pound the rock? Also, don't renew DJ. Great player, but inconsistent. We have many needs, not receiver. Low-key, 20 is my hero this season. Our best cornerback right now.
Young Cam Sutton.
He almost had a pick, too.
He did. Sutton continues to play well, man. In terms of Deontay, well, he still has another year on the deal anywho. It's 2 year, this year and next year. So that's fine. And, yeah, we on the 30 train. Definitely on the 30 train. I want to see 30 with Derek White blocking for him as well, man. I want to see what that look like. But I do think with some of the runs for 30, man, he's taking advantage of some of the lighter boxes that he gets. Whereas with Najee, his lack of, willingness to just hit it and go, it isn't allowing him to take advantage of some of those lighter boxes. And that's why you talk about some of the safeties in terms of how they're able to react. They come down a little bit faster with him because he's not as, hitting it and going. Whereas with Jalen, it don't matter if you're running it out the gun, under center. When he gets the ball, he's not doing a lot of playing with it. He's just, I see it, I'm going. Y'all figure it out later. You know what I mean? Whereas now he's trying to figure it out for himself before he even gets onto their side of the field, man.
Yeah. Ryan Duran, Deke, I got that 50-50 Steelers themed team too.
Let's go. Also, I think we skipped one. I got L. Marinak. L. Marinak says if Kenny Pickett doesn't show improvement by season's end and the Steelers have a top 3 pick, they need to draft a quarterback. It is an elite QB-driven league.
No, we're rolling with Pickett.
But then that would also be...
I think his premise is wrong, though, too. I think Pickett is consistently improving.
He's talking specifically about elite, though. He's specifically talking about the elite element.
I think Pickett could be that guy for us.
No, not saying that he can or can't be. He's saying in terms of just showing it right now. He was like, if he doesn't show that he is elite now, by the end of the season, we're picking in the top 3. Do you pick one of these other quarterbacks? Is quarterback the priority? I think that's what he's saying specifically. But yeah, it depends on how you view him. Yeah, if you think that he could be elite or you think he is elite, then yeah, you're going to have that opinion. If you don't think he's elite or you don't think he could be that, you have the other opinion. But yeah.
What are you doing?
Who, me?
Top 3 pick.
I'm just not a fan of constant change. So that would be the reason why I would not bring a quarterback in outside of something catastrophic happening, because when you just keep making changes, you're not going to get the productivity that you want. You might get it eventually, but it'll be 6-7 years down the line. Anywho, when we talk about some of these teams that have done all the things that they did to get to this quarterback or this player or this coach, we forget how long it took for them to get there. We just look at these 2 seasons. Look at what they're doing right now. They're hot. And it's like,
right, if the
look
Bills
at what they had to endure.
Idea,
look what they had to go through.
On from Josh Allen.
Exactly. So that's the part for me where it's like, I have the disconnect with fans because I don't have that mindset. I don't, because to me, I would much rather just stick with this, build with this. And now when you finally get it where it needs to be, now you're good to go versus, the first sign of trouble, let's break it all up. The first sign of, oh man, I don't feel confident anymore. Let me just fire everybody, blow the whole system up. Everything is doom and gloom. It's like, bro, how are you ever going to grow? How do you improve? How do you look back and say, hey, look where we came from, if as soon as you hit adversity, you quit? You can't win like that. You're not going to ever be successful like that if every time it's adversity, you just throw in the towel. And that's what it feels like at times when we come up here and it's like, oh, it's this guy, fire that guy. It's that guy, fire this guy. Oh, man, we're just terrible as a team. And it's like, no, that's just the mentality. you're finding comfort in just saying that, hey, it's doom and gloom when it's not the case.
What's interesting too is that's actually kind of the story of Pickett's Pitt career. Pitt program definitely not as good as what this Steeler roster is that's surrounding Pickett, but also people complain about Pickett with some of his turnovers early on and everything. Mm-hmm. And you could see with Pickett though, he was a gamer. Like he made plays. He was what made the offense go. But eventually you saw what happened once you stick with them. Pitt had their best season in 40 years. Yeah. Threw for 40 touchdowns, was top 3 in the Heisman finalist race. Yeah. So, yeah, stick with Pickett. Have faith in Pickett. Jay Hall, do you think Tomlin – well, I was going to say this too. Even just from what we're seeing this year with the Steelers, I'm seeing improvement week to week. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing the signs there that he can be elite. I'm seeing throws that show that he can be elite. Let's see it out. Let's see it play out. Jay Hall, do you think Tomlin has lost connection with the team? When they were winning, was it because of Ben or Tomlin? This is the first year without Ben.
Has he lost connection with the team because they're 2-7 or 2-6 the first year?
Don't give us another
transition.
Loss.
It's like, no, I don't think that he's lost connection with the team, and I think that both Ben, Tomlin, and everybody else that was out there are big reasons why both of those guys had success. Like, yeah, that's just my opinion.
Philip Hopkins. Yeah. I hope we can get Joey Porter Jr. next season. He better be good. I just don't want to draft him because of his name.
We've done it in the past. It's worked out. We just gonna roll with it, man.
You know what? I'm believing Tomlin more though that we drafted Connor Hayward because he's a football player.
Nah, he is though. He like Connor legit is doing well, man. He's a baller, and Joey Porter Jr. is a baller as well, man. JJ, he nice, but we'll see, man. Drafting wise, positioning and everything, because to try to draw a conclusion on who we need at this point, man, it's still a lot of football. It's a lot to evaluate. It's a lot to see in terms of Ahkello Witherspoon, for example. At this point last season, we didn't know who he was. Our perception, our identity, or who we thought he was at this stage was very different than what we thought of him at the end of the season. That's why you have to allow it to play out before you start saying, oh, man, we definitely need this position right now. This is the position that we're focusing on in the draft. It's like, bro, we got a whole 10 games still remaining in this thing, man. So let's see. If it does turn out to be corner, cool. If it doesn't, cool. But give it time, baby. Just give it time.
Mohammed Absamed. Mm-hmm. Kemi might have to change his last name to
Pick'em.
Pick'em.
They play with your man, yo.
Farron Bradford. The 22 slander needs to stop. RBs need rhythm and consistency to get going, and we have none of that. No. He played Superman last year and this year. It's just not working, and he knows it. 30 puts the ball on the ground, too, now. He hasn't at all during regular season, right?
He has
It was just the preseason.
Correct. Or no, didn't he have one? Or no, it was either the preseason or like week 1. It was like super early if it did happen. But I don't think he had one during the season.
What game was it? We recovered it.
Yeah.
You're right.
But he had, and that was the only knock, because it was like he played
Deontay recovered it.
Yeah, we were like, he played well, but don't put the ball on the ground. Like, that's the big thing.
And I think Deontay recovered it in the midst. It might have been, was it the Browns game? I think it was the Browns
one of them
game.
ones,
Deontay recovered it in the midst of him having like a 3 or 4 drop game.
Of all people.
You're just like, bro, come on.
Of all people.
Farron Bradford. Same standard we hold 22 to, hold 39 to it also.
Oh, I agree. But
yeah, Minka did have his best game.
But the difference in context is this season as a whole, who is giving you more consistent productivity and playmaking. The standard is always the same. Absolutely. But you also have to understand context. If you just bash one player because of a handful of bad plays versus one player having multiple games of bad plays, that is not the same. That's how you get players looking at you like you crazy, because you just over here trying to, create your own narrative. Hey, Minka, man, what's going on? It's like, nah, bro.
He was in position.
Nah. Them two? Nah, not this year, man. So we hold them to the same standard, but that context matters 100%.
Right. Minka has what? Pick 6.
Yeah.
He had 3 or 4 picks on the season.
Yeah.
He's trucking dudes.
Come on now. How many plays do we point to where we're like Minka, and Minka? We're not doing that right now with 22, unfortunately. So I'm with you, but we're going to keep it there. We're going to keep it there. That's all.
Right. Najee's best run was yesterday. Just yardage-wise. 18-yard run, and then he caught a touchdown from Pickett.
And think
about
Najee's
wide open in that Bucs game.
And not even to discredit one or the other, but Najee's best game this year is what we're looking at as potentially Minka's worst game. like that type of stuff, man. So I'm with you, but 39 and definitely done his thing on a major way this season.
Right,
man.
Najee's best game, probably Miami. I think that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
BG, 2-Dub. Am I right on that?
Yeah, because we got like 3 left, and then we'll be right on schedule.
Would it be better to just use all the quarterbacks per scheme to maximize scoring opportunities, or just settle for the draft?
Man, I think we stick with what we're rolling with right now, at least while we're getting this progression. And at the end of the year, we figure that thing out there, man. But yeah, you don't want to start using all these quarterbacks. Hey, man, I think we just keep rolling with the trickeration way in the red zone. Chase.
We did the Wildcat, too.
On,
God damn it.
Hey, low-key was all right, though.
I know. Deontay almost scored.
Come on, man. The creativity is there.
We need something, because to help with our red zone offense, you need to run the ball. You need to be able to run the ball, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I guess if it's through Wildcat or a jet sweep, because honestly, as I'm watching the game again, the jet sweeps in general are working.
It works.
Steven Sims got 10 yards.
We don't like it. It works, though. We don't like it, but it works.
God.
It's a 10-yard pickup. Are we not going to credit that? Is that not a good play? Is that not a good call? Is that not good execution? It's a 10-yard play. We don't like how it's looking because we don't like them type of plays, but it's still a productive play.
It feels gimmicky.
But it's a productive play. And he consistently runs it, too.
Thomas Dowdy. I love Tomlin, but hate how he is so stubborn to rookies and change. He seems to have taken a hands-off approach, unless he has an eye issue now.
I'm not sure specifically what he means.
I don't know what the eye issue
means.
He's definitely trying to like make a little joke. I don't know.
No, I was talking about like the stubborn to the rookies part of it. Because if you're talking about the Kenny element, that's not just because he's a rookie. That's because
is he talking about Mark Robinson? I don't think our linebackers are the biggest issue right now, though.
I don't either.
Because Pickens played right off the bat. We got Pickett
in. That's what I'm saying.
Pretty shortly after that. Jalen Warren's
the Marvin Lee I was playing.
He's on IR
injury now. Right now. Yeah, but it's like
Jalen Warren's been getting touches steadily.
I don't know.
Maybe that's what he's talking. Maybe he just wants Warren to be RB1.
Yeah. And if that is the context, not saying it is, but if that is the context, then I would just say that part of the reason why he's slower to make those type of changes is because, as we said earlier in the week, or even last week, fans believe it before they see it. Coaches, players need to see it first to believe it. That, to me, would be the big difference if we're talking specifically why rookies aren't starters from day one under Coach Tomlin and getting all the opportunities and all the designs, and it takes more time. It's because he wants to see it happen in stadium, and they got to build that cachet up and earn those opportunities.
Steelers Nation on fire. I was talking about it. Seems there's no offensive play call switching. Going back to one of his previous comments.
In terms of like checks at the line of scrimmage? Or is he just saying as a whole in the games?
Right, trying to do different stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like once we got down double digits and Eagles put up 21, we started getting into more of a spread offense.
Yeah.
Started getting Kenny in shotgun.
I mean, is that a switch? Technically, it is a switch. I don't know. I don't know specifically what you're referring to right there, man.
Fair and Bradford, but we pointing at 22 missed runs and reads.
Yes.
But 39 leaving some plays out there too this year. LOL. 22 my guy, and fans being too fickle.
Well,
so he's more or less defending Najee.
So I'm glad that you just said that you just took it personal, and that's fine. Taking it personal when people hold 22 accountable, you do what other people have done when we've held any player accountable, right? And they get defensive. Point the finger at somebody else, deflect. Once again, when you're talking about how a team continues to be inconsistent, when you talk about how a team continues to lack detail, that's the type of stuff. You can call out 22 without having to point the finger at somebody else. We point the finger and we discuss each and every guy that does do well and does struggle, but you can't minimize it just because it makes you feel, a certain type of way. That's the professional element of it. That's why we always say we come from a stance of love and positivity when we're critiquing these guys, because it is very easy to feel like that. That is the human nature element of it. And that's why I'm real intentional about being ultra positive, because I still got relationships with a lot of these dudes, man. But 22, in terms of what he's done this season, the mysteries and stuff like that. We're just simply saying that it is on a more larger scale and it's happened way more frequently than when we're talking specifically about Minkah Fitzpatrick and his handful or so of bad plays. That's the bigger difference, you know? But you got to be accountable one way or the other. So try not to take it as personal, because that is going to ultimately help these guys get better. You got to be able to call it when you see it, man. But I like how you stand up for your dog, though. Respect to you. Either way, you know that.
Mohamed Absamed. Kenny will find a way to throw a pick during the bye.
Bro, why y'all why they don't like your boy, man? They're getting on your dude, man. I keep seeing the small hands. He need different gloves.
Listen, I did have a prop bet up.
Oh, no.
That Kenny wasn't going to throw a pick, and it was looking good.
What?
As I said last week, Kenny keeps it clean this game.
It was.
And the only one he really threw borderline was there was an out to Deontay where it was like a bang bang. I forget which cornerback it was, but that was the only one he really threw that was close.
He had one in the second quarter, middle of the field. Pat Fryer move over, throw his 22 in the chest. 22 just dropped it.
Oh yeah,
that was the one. Yeah.
Fair. Mohamed Absamed also says Claypool been low key consistent this season.
No, he's been playing well, man, at times, but. That's the thing with all of these dudes, man. We can point to all of these guys at various points and talk about how they've done some good stuff. We just need it to be on a more consistent basis, especially when you're facing a team like Philly, like Buffalo, like, Miami, all these teams that we win against in the short term. Now, hopefully, it does open up a little bit for us and it does a little bit easier for us. But either way, the execution is going to have to be there. It's going to have to improve. But this was a vibe, bro.
You got things to do, right?
I was about to say, I just looked at the clock. I was like, I do have to get to another radio show before.
Pretty good timing, though.
It low-key was, man. We were able to get it all knocked out. Shout out to the morning time as well. Y'all know we don't do mornings, but it's Halloween and I got kids. And Deke, I think Deke got action tonight. So you never know.
I'm just chilling.
That's what he always say. He a Netflix and chill type of guy. All right. So either way, though, man, this was a blast, man. We definitely appreciate y'all though, rocking with us as well. Yeah, stay safe out there, man. If you out there in these trick-or-treating streets, man, make good decisions. But either way, we appreciate you. And until, as I hit the wrong button on the way out. But either way, now we're good. So shout out to y'all. And until next time, baby.
Peace.